à toi ça?
Oui, c'est pour noter au cas où.
Au cas où.
Pour noter quelque chose. C'est chiant, il y a plein de câbles ici.
Bah, on peut faire comme ça.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Cedric.
Hi, my name is Elaine.
And today we will be bringing you the live support. For once, we will be two by doing it. So that is really awesome. So you have two for the price of one. We hope that you guys are motivated and that you have tons of questions. I see that we already have 4 viewers, which is already a very good start. So the main purpose of today is to answer your functional question. I like to say that it is functional questions only because, of course, we have a lot of developers and a lot of very motivated, people of our community that also like to ask us technical questions, but that will be for next week with our awesome and only own Nicolas Saint-Lay. So if you have any functional question, don't hesitate and go for it on the chat. Now, the time that you think about the questions or test the solutions that you have, we might talk a little bit about what is new in Odoo. I don't know. Do you have any idea what is new in Odoo in the V11, Elaine?
I know that it's quite faster than the previous version.
Indeed.
Yeah, but that's the big news, but what else is it?
Well, we have a lot of new features. Like you see in the new V11, we have the new CRM module, who now is separated from the sales module. So please remember that in the previous versions we had a sales module that had and the CRM and the purchase. So now we have 2 separated modules that have their own purpose, which makes it, of course, easier. So we have our first question coming from Octa2. How can we achieve multi-level approval for purchasing? All right. Well, that is already quite an easy question. Do you have any idea? No? So you don't know. All right, well, we will try to answer that for you. Once again, Elaine here is one of our new support officers, so she's the one that handles a lot of your functional tickets and gives you a great answer. The purpose here today is to introduce her to the live support so that you will find it fun like I do, and that you will see her probably back a couple of times later on. So please provide us also with some easy functional questions so that we can train, and that we will have new live support officers to provide you with the best possible support. So, Octa2, how can we achieve multi-level purchasing approval? That's actually quite easy. What you need to do is simply go into the Purchase app, if I remember correctly, and you will have one setting that allows you to do so. So if we go into the purchasing, and you go into the configuration, you have the first configuration who is order approval. So manager must approve orders in order to be able to order, basically. So you tick that function, and you have one parameter that says, all right, what is the minimum amount that I need to have in order to be able to purchase my item. So we propose 5,000 euro by default. You can, of course, put 0 if you want that every order needs to be approved by a manager. You can put less or more if you want to give some flexibility to your customers as well, to your employees as well. So if we take, for instance, let's say that we want every purchase of more than 100 euro to be approved by a manager, we'll save. And what we have to do, of course, is to have a user that has a low access right, because if I try this with my administrator, of course I will have an issue. Now, what I'm seeing here is that I'm taking some time to load, which is not the best thing. Like Elaine just said, the V11 is one of the fastest versions that we have. But the reason it takes so much to load is because I made the mistake here at our farm in Grandrosières to connect only on the Wi-Fi, which is not a very good idea. I should have connected on the LAN. So, I'll just take a LAN cable that we have here. Hopefully I can connect easier. Here we go. It seems to work. Perfect. Sorry about the disturbance here. So, right, I saw that, but it's possible to have up to 3 approvals. Without customization, no. So, basically in the standard version, so you have one approval layer. Now, if you want multiple, then you need to customize your base, basically. So, in our standard version, you won't have the possibility to have more than that. I'm just thinking about it. If we have no other way of reaching that kind of behavior, but I know that we have some regarding the so we have multi-level approval regarding when you want to do some BOM changes or in manufacturing, but in the purchase, unfortunately, we only have one level. So indeed, so you're right. It is only for one level. If you want more, then we will need to customize the base regarding that. Even though I'll show you the rest of the flow if other people are watching with us and that they would like to see how it works. So if you want to have an approval, so you save this particular setting, right? I think that our connection today is not of the best quality ever. I'm apologizing about that. That is the down part of working in a farm and having to live stream high quality images, and then of course our Wi-Fi connection gets a bit overloaded, but even though it seems to work. So if I have my my approval rate here and that I create a new I create a new user that has a low access right. So let's try it by creating a new user here. By the way, so everybody can create any new user that you want. We'll create one for Elaine. Here we go. We'll just do test@test.com. I'm hoping that nobody has that email address particularly in you all. Now, of course, we can so we can create users for any SaaS database. So it's very simple to create a new user. You simply go into the user management page, like I just showed you, and then you simply create one user. But the only thing that you have to be careful about is that you need to have a valid email address and a unique one. So you can't have two people with the same with the same email address, basically. So to end that flow, so we will give the person who is in purchase the minimum amount of rights, just to show you the way it works. So if I can see purchase here, we just say that it's a user, it's not a manager, right? We save it. You will see that he will have more access rights because, of course, well, he needs to have some more default access right to be able to access the base. Right, and for now, just to make it faster, I will simply change the password here locally so that I can log immediately into his new database. Right, so I copy the email address. I go into a incognito window just to not to be in the same session. Otherwise, we will have some issues. And I just take the name of my database. I connect with my new user. Here we go. I sign in. I had test@test.com, if I remember correctly, right? Did you pay attention?
Yep,
exactly. Perfect. And with my local password. And now, basically, if I want to go into the purchases, I can request a quote. Of course, I have no data in my company at the moment, so I have to create my first vendor. Let's say that it's Odoo, right? Just remember that that's also something new from the version here, is that now we have a database search about the different companies that we have to be able to fill in the default characteristic of that company. So if you have Odoo, well, you can also look, I don't know, like for Apple, well, you will have the information about Apple and everything else. So let's say that we use Odoo for the moment, right? You can see that I have the logo and the website, which is already quite nice. I save it, and let's say that I want to create a new product, like, well, an expense, right, something. and I want a unit price of, I don't know, 1,200. I should normally be blocked by my order. Okay, here I have it. I have to be approved by my manager to be able to send it through. So indeed, to answer your question, Octap 2, we can't have in the standard version multiple layers, but we can have one. Our advice, of course, would be to think: do you really need a multi-level approval, or is it sufficient, to put that responsibility into one person? Also, don't remember that a way that you can follow up on people is in the chatter. So here we see that it is Hélène, my dear colleague, who did the purchase. Even if you have only one layer, you can say to your employees, okay, be careful because I can see what you're doing. So basically, it gives a bit more flexibility, of course, but if somebody would try to abuse that power, to abuse, the trust that you put in them, then you can follow that on the channel. So I hope it answered your question, and in any case, we'll try to stay in standard, of course, but if you need it, we can also customize it. So then we have another question coming from Moto. Hello, is it possible to group delivery orders by customer? By default, there is one delivery order for every sales order, all right, but we have customers who order several times a day. All right, well,
they need one shipping for a customer a day.
And we want only one shipping for a customer a day. Okay, so basically, you want to group different delivery order together, merge them together, basically. That won't be possible. Why? Because there are some technical aspects regarding to it and regarding the stock management. It is very hard to handle in the inventory which pieces of your stock that you can reserve or deliver, and the ones that you can. So if you have the ability to merge different sales orders together, it's kind of a problem to know which one are still available in your stock. Now let's try maybe the case together, see if we can find the solution here. So let's say that I have, this is my normal user, of course, so I have to switch back to my administrator here. So let's say that you have different sales orders. So it means also, Moto, that you have different sales orders, I guess, or do you have only one sale order? I guess I'll see your answer right after. But indeed, if you have a quote for a customer, we will create a new customer that we will call Agrolais. All right. So we have a product, and let's say that we create a product that is simply a computer. Right. It has a sale price of 1,200. Here we go. Here we go. And we save. And we confirm the sale. All right, so indeed, we have only one delivery order. Now, if he creates a second one, then you will have indeed a small issue, because he creates a second one, you confirm the sale, and it will create a different delivery order. Now, you might maybe want to change your way of working, because one customer creates a sale order, and on the same day you say that he creates another one. What you can do is, of course, cancel the sale order, add a new computer, and revalidate it to have one sale order at the end. So basically what you could do is that in your quotation, instead of having two sale orders, you go into the first one, and then your customer calls you back and say, hey, for today's delivery, I need actually one more. And you say, okay, no problem. What was your original sale order number? And he tells you, okay, it's SO001. Perfect. Then you can cancel that sales order, set it to quotation, and say, okay, actually, I need to edit it first, of course. And say, okay, actually, I don't need two computers, I need 4 now. All right. I save it. I have 4. And by saving it again and confirming the sale, you will now have you will now have a second delivery order. So basically, the first one was cancelled, so that is actually quite good. And then the second one groups actually the 4 computer. So that is a way of working, is that you can do it on one same sale order. But if you do two different sale orders, the system will always create you both. That is logical. So I would advise you maybe to rethink the way that you work and see if we can manage it that way. All right, Moto, I hope it answered your question. Quick tip. If you work that way, accounting-wise, I would also advise to only invoice when you deliver your products. Why? Because if you don't, it means that sometimes you will be able to invoice one part and then you will have to deliver all the rest before being able to invoice the rest. So that's a bit more complicated. I would advise you to maybe then only invoice when you are delivered, because it's simpler. Now, if that is not the case, it works as well if you deliver if you invoice immediately on the order. It's simply that here the delivered quantities and the invoice quantities won't match immediately, but it works. All right. So hope that helped your question. Now we have a couple of new questions here. So we have 18 people watching now. Just so you know, so for once today we are 2. So now that we have a little bit more viewers, I can repeat that we have the tremendous honor to have Hélène with us here, who will help me today with supporting you guys. And so the main purpose is that because she's one of our newest support managers, support employees, actually agents, exactly, yeah. Agent. Thank you. But you're also a manager almost, yeah. Because you manage tickets. So basically, you're a manager. And so basically, I made a small bet with her that if she was able to answer 10 of your questions today, I would pay her a drink at the end of the day. So if you want to help her out, don't hesitate to also ask some easy questions so that my colleague can answer as well. All right. So Motto told us it was only one shipment for customer a day. So I hope that the solution of editing your sale order will help you in that regard, Motto. Then we have a question from 938. So we are only a couple of minutes late, so that's okay. How can we manage product warranty in V11? And what is the use of the field end of warranty in repairs module? Well, the product warranty is one small feature that we have in Odoo. Indeed, but we haven't developed a lot of features regarding that. The warranty actually can be set on the product itself. So basically, if you go into customers, so you go into sales, orders, the catalog, the products, you can in the computer say, okay, how long of a warranty does my product have? No, apparently it's changed. It changed the space where it was, because before it was in the general information. It's not the case anymore. That is a bit strange. Sorry, products. Maybe it's something that we need to install. We'll go have a quick look on the Runbot. Maybe here. Oh, it's in Chinese now. Perfect. I don't know if it's really Chinese. So if we have some Asian people, it's Chinese. All right. So English. Here we go. We'll have a quick look in our Runbot, because it might be that all the modules are not installed in my database, of course. And if we take a product anywhere here, we should find a warranty somewhere. Here we go. So, or a invoicing policy assets. That's a bit strange. Okay, I don't see the warranty option anymore. I will have a quick look after it on when I have a small break where it is to be found. But to answer your question, Multi, the end of the warranty in repairs module is simply an information field to fill in to know if you have to re-invoice or not the work that you do while repairing the module. So basically, if you have a warranty of 2 days, it should calculate from the product. All right, a warranty of 2 years. Sorry, it should calculate. Okay, is this still under warranty or not? And it's simply an information field. We haven't developed anything more regarding that at the moment. So if you have a more specific case, don't hesitate. Otherwise, I hope that answers your question. So we have Otabdu who says it did. Thank you. So that's perfect. Can can I ask how to merge two tasks into one? I tried, but the timesheets cannot be merged. Well, that is actually a good question. I have never merged two tasks into one. I think that might be one of the new features of the V11, possibly. So we'll have a quick test together. I guess that you do that when you provide services. So we'll go into the project module. We'll go into the task and we'll create two tasks, right? So we create the first task, who is called task 1, right? And we can create a second task, who is task 2. And so you're telling me that I can merge those two. So if I don't have any timesheets on the tasks, so that's a bit strange. Maybe that I have to configure my settings of my project module here, and I have to ask them to use timesheets, but it does. Okay. So I have a quick look about how we can have the tasks on our timesheets. We can take a run bot as well, because on the run bot itself, I'm pretty sure that we have the... Here we go. All right, let's go have a quick look in the projects. So this one allows timesheets. So I guess that if I create a task in this one, I will have my timesheets. So task 1.
I found it.
Yeah? You found it, Elaine? Tell me everything.
Yeah, actually, if you put this view into the list view, so click to be on the list view, and you select the both tasks that you want to merge.
Mm-hmm.
You go click on action.
And you can merge selected task. All right. But what we wanted to test here is that they say that apparently the timesheets cannot be merged.
Oh, okay.
So what we want to try here is to have a timesheet here. Here we go. And to add an item for an employee, a description with test, and a timesheet of 2 hours for that one. And then in my task 2, we can have a timesheet as well, and we will put a timesheet of for test 2 for 3 hours in this one. Here we go. So we'll take the test here, and now, so we will do like Elaine told us. So task 1, task 2 will merge the selected tasks. So it has to merge here. Except the destination task. So would you want to create a new task? No, I want to merge everything into the first one. I'll merge my task. I don't seem to have any issue at the moment, but indeed I have only one timesheet. So that might be a small bug. Okay. So I would advise you regarding that timesheet is to go onto our support form. So go into odoo.com/help. All right. And so in here, please fill in what we just saw together and ask to the support if that is a normal behavior or if it's a small bug. Then we'll have a technical team that looks into that issue and that will come back to you as soon as possible. That is, by the way, one of the jobs of my colleagues here. So for once that we have a real support officer with us, we can also talk a bit about their job. So if at some point you notice a behavior that is not supposed to work like this, don't hesitate to report it back to us. We have a huge program. We try, of course, to avoid bugs as much as possible, but we need you as a community to communicate with us if you find anything that we should get better, or if you find any bugs. So don't hesitate to go into our support form to open a small ticket, and Elaine and her team will take special care of you guys.
Sure.
You can also say that you come from me, right? You take some. You never know. All right. So thank you, Jackie. Don't hesitate to report it back to us, and we'll investigate why the timesheets are not merged correctly. All right. So we have a new question from. I'll just have a look at how much questions we have. So the last question was from Moto as well. So 952. 2, so that's not too far away. So please hang on. As we have a couple of questions, we try to answer everything, but of course the time that we arrive to your question, it might take some time. Usually I try to avoid having more of 10 minutes delay. So please hang on with us. The question from Julie van Orschau. Maybe that you're Belgian. It's a kind of a Flemish name, I guess. How can I create deliveries from the warehouse nearest to my customers automatically, so I don't need to select the correct warehouse in my sale order? That's a customization as well, unfortunately. So indeed, you're able to select the warehouse in your sale order, but for the moment we have no function to be able to select automatically the warehouse nearest to your customer. It's a good feedback. I think it's something that we could try to improve, but unfortunately at the moment we don't have the possibility to do it. So if you need some customization, once again, if on one of your questions I respond that we don't have it in standard, don't hesitate to go to our sales department, so to go to our website and to register a demo with one of our salesperson. They will be able to help you with your specific questions and specific needs and to provide you with the best solution that we might have. We don't know everything either, so it might be that sometimes we miss something or we miss an idea because we're in live, so we don't have the time to think everything through like we would do for a normal project. So don't hesitate, if the answer that we provide today is not sufficient for you, to book a call with one of our sales experts so that they can analyze your needs in more depth. All right. So Julia, it's a good question, but unfortunately at the moment you need to select the warehouse on your sale order manually. I was thinking about what we could do with routes, but even with routes it all depends on. Actually, with routes we could do something. Basically, using routes, you can create procurements, right? So while creating procurements into a route, it would be maybe possible if you select, if you specify a specific virtual location on your client to be able to automatically launch a procurement for the warehouse in question. Now, that is a solution where you need to configure your client and know, okay, this client lives there, so I put for him this virtual location in his client's form. So it's not really automatic. It's just that you can pull up a system where you select that the fact, okay, this client is from this. So this client is from this. This region, so I put this virtual location on him. It's quite of a complex configuration, so you might need the help of one of our salesperson or of one of our consultants if you can't manage it yourself. So there is something to do here, but to do exactly like you ask, meaning that it selects automatically the warehouse from the customer that is nearest to you, fully automated. That is something that we don't have at the moment. But if my idea of doing it with routes makes sense for you, don't hesitate to either ask your consultant if you have one, or to ask our sales departments for a quick demo. All right? I hope it helped, Julia. So then we have one question from Jan van Herp. Is it possible to import products, locations, and stock in one import action? Well, imports are quite a not that complex matter, but do everything in one file is a bit hard. Like I always tell people that try to understand how to do imports, is that you always have to import I don't know how you say it in English. I'll ask to my colleague. Un contenant.
Oh, I don't know actually.
You don't know? Then we have a colleague here who speaks very well English. Un contenant.
How do you say it in English?
Yeah, un contenu. So basically, let's take the example of a vase and water, right? The thing is that if you want to be able to import water into Odoo, you need to import the vase first. That's the main idea. So basically, if you want to import an inventory, you need to have the contents of the inventory before that you can import the inventory. So basically, you will have to first import the products, because that is what you need to import in your inventory, and then import the inventory while linking to the existing products into the database. Now, you can have one file that has all of that information, but you will have to do multiple imports to be able to create everything. Import is quite of a long topic to handle, so I won't be able to show it to you right now, but we have documentations as well that explain how to do your imports. And once again, if it's a bit strange or if you have some trouble, don't hesitate to contact one of our sales departments. All right? So Jan, I hope it answered your question. Then we have another question from Eike Schiers. Once again, guys, I'm very sorry if I'm mispronouncing your names. It's just that we are helping people from all around the world, and sometimes it's complicated to pronounce all of the names, of course. Hello, and thank you for the technicals team. That's no problem. Could you please turn down the 4 watt setting? Oh, I guess that is what my technical colleague is doing right now. No? So we have one person who says, could you please turn down the 4 watts setting?
What's happening is we have the wrong title on the screen.
Oh, okay. So basically, apparently we have the wrong title on the stream. So that is what we're trying to fix right now. But I just gave I don't really know what we are talking about, but I gave it to my colleague that we should maybe turn down the 4 watts setting. I don't know what that actually is, but I hope that my colleague knows. So we'll try to do that, Eike. Thank you so much. So we have a couple of other questions here. Once again, guys, don't forget we have a bet running, right? So our colleague Elaine here absolutely needs to be able to answer 10 questions as well, right? If she wants her drink. Otherwise, she can have no drink tonight. And I don't want to put her through that. That's like it's Friday night for everyone, right? So I cannot do that. So please provide us also with some easy questions so that she can answer as well, and that I can maybe also rest my voice a bit, which is always nice. Once again, Elaine, if you see a question that you can answer, you just buzz the beeper, all right?
Sure, I will. All
right. So in the Odoo version 11, that is the question from Mr. Abdiazarak. I'm very sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrongly. In the Odoo version 11, Pazoo can show us an inventory valuation report, item, unit cost, total quality, with grouping locations or internal categories. All right. So basically, indeed, we have a way to do an inventory valuation. And so to do so, what you need to do is go into the inventory app. Here we go. And in the inventory app, you can have the reporting and have an inventory valuation right here. And basically here, you have the inventory valuation here. And you can group with anything that is on the model. Now, I think I kind of get what is the issue here. What you're asking is that can we group by location or by internal category? So by location, it's possible. That is what we see. No, that's not what we see here. But if you go here and you go a group by, we can group by internal location. Oh, it's internal category, so that is already one, right? So you can group your inventory valuation by internal category, which is already what you asked for the first one. But can I group it by internal location? I have the impression of yes, but inventory availability, I can see it exactly here, maybe in the L. Let's see, location, here we go. So basically, okay, so I have no locations at the moment, so it's undefined, but yes, you can group your inventory, your product valuation report by location or by any group by aspect with a many to one in this menu, basically. So I hope that helped. Ali Bizak, and once again, sorry if the name is wrong. Don't hesitate if you have any other questions. All right. So let's go on to the other questions. Still no question that you think you can handle? It's just that I need to get a sip of water, of course, because otherwise I will not hold.
Okay, so I'll just read the next question, I guess. So Joseph Oystermeyer asks, hi, if we buy 2 different products, put it together and sell it as one product. How can I offer it, and how is it handled in inventory? I actually don't have the answer to this question, so I come back to you.
All right, but I maybe will reformulate the question of Joseph. I think that Joseph wants to work in a kit.
All right.
So
yeah.
basically, I think that Joseph says, okay, I have components, you know, so I have one product that I want to sell, like let's say a table, and in my table I have one, four legs, and I have one
Tabletop.
one tabletop. How do I handle something like that? You don't know? I sure you do. You know what? I'll start, right?
Okay.
We'll play a little game.
Okay.
I'll start, and if at some point you say, "Oh yeah, I would have known that," then you say, "I know." You know, you hit
Okay.
the button, and then you can
Okay.
continue on.
Okay.
I will correct if you have any issue. Don't worry.
Okay.
Right. So basically, how something like this works. I will just see if Joseph added any more information. I don't. I saw like one comment of our Eike Schuss who says turn down for what, and I just thinking about, you know, like the music, like turn
Yeah.
down for what.
That question made me laugh too.
All right. Okay, and we have one question from Nicolas Saint-Rollet. After that, Hélène will be able to answer. So once we get to that, we will answer the question. So basically.
I think it was higher.
It was higher. Okay.
Yeah, that one.
Okay. So if we buy two different products, put it together and sell it as one product, how can I offer it, and how is it handled in inventory? Okay. So basically, if I take my Rembot here, we can do that like for example with a table. So I go into my sales. And into my sales, I create a new final product who will be the table, right? So that is the one that we will sell at the end. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm creating quotations, totally not that. So once again, sorry, forget about it. We'll take the catalog and go into the products, right? We take the product and we create one product that is called table. All right. Into the table, I want it to be a stockable product. Okay, and I want to be able to say, okay, my table is composed of two components, right? So I go into my bill of material here, I create a bill of material, and I say, okay, my components for my table are one time a leg, right? So a table leg here for a quantity of 4, because every table needs 4 legs, except if you go, you know, in one of those like. Nice modern arts kind of stuff, but no, normally a table has 4 legs, period, right? Then I add also my table, how do you call it? Head, indeed. Yeah. I don't know who's already created that already for me, that's super nice. And then we save it, and basically instead of saying that you want to manufacture this product, you can say I want to buy this as a kit. Right, and in inventory, it means that we will only look at, okay, how much table legs do I have, and how much table heads do I have. So basically, I have to go into my table leg, right, and say, okay, in my table leg, I have 0 on hand for the moment, so I want to say that I have more. I have 4 quantities of my table leg at the moment. I have 8 quantities, excuse me, of my table head in the moment, but I have a forecasted of 4, right? And in my table head, once again, I go and I say that I have 5 table legs, 5 table heads. I'm sorry. And I save it. And now what happens in terms of inventory? It means that if we go into my sale order, so Joseph, it's the moment of truth now, right? So if we create our sale order for our clients, and that I add the final product, so it is the final product that I purchased, right? So which is the table, which I don't have actually in stock. I only have the table legs and head, but I sell it for a specific price to my customer. I don't think that is the right product actually.
No, it's not.
It's not the right product, right? So I need to find my other table. Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, I have not in stock. I have no in stock, which is normal because I don't have the final table. I only have the components of that table. So I save and close. I save the sale order and I confirm the sale. By confirming the sale, I have one delivery, and in my delivery, I only deliver my table leg and my table head. So basically that is how I handle my stock, is that I use kits to be able to sell components of one final products. Of course, you can as well order those two products independently. So using routes, you can go into the product here and say, okay, I want to automatically order that product if I need it. And then in that case, you can simply go into the inventory here and simply specify, okay, every time that I need that one, so every time that I have a make to order, I want to buy that product. All right. So, Joseph, I hope it answered your question. To summarize, basically, how do I sell two different products that I put together? Well, you simply create one product, and on the product you put a bill of material that you say that you want to sell as a kit. All right, Joseph, I hope it answered your question. By the way, if you want to re-watch this live session because you want to receive some of our answer, because you didn't understand everything and you want to re-watch it, or because you just like our pretty faces and that you want to see us again, then you simply copy-paste the link that you have right now in your YouTube channel. It will stay available for an amount of time. I don't know exactly how much, but if you want to watch it tomorrow, it should be fine, for instance. All right? Then, so we have some new questions here as well. We'll try to get a bit of a further on, because I see that the last question we had are from 10, and now we are here at 48, so we are already quite a 30 minutes late, so we'll try to move a bit forwards with the different kinds of question. What does the add to order feature does in the purchase app? That's a good question. So basically, I go into my purchases, and I guess that you have a feature that is called add to order, maybe on a request for quotation. I'm not exactly sure what you mean with the feature. Is it something maybe in the configuration? No. So if I create a purchase order, we have purchase agreement. I'm not 100% sure what you mean with the add to order, Maxime. So if you could maybe provide us with a little bit more information, like how do we get to the feature, we will be able to help you a little bit more. All right, so please provide us with that. So Maxime, how do you set up a reordering rule? To set up a reordering rule is quite simple. You simply go into, you know it?
Yeah, I know.
Yay! Okay, you're perfect. All right, so we'll switch back to the screen of Hélène, and Hélène will be able to answer your question, Maxime. So Maxime, you might be the first one that helps Hélène to have a beer tonight. That's perfect. So we'll go back to Hélène. Here we go.
Okay, great. So I'm sorry for my Wi-Fi connection. I don't have the cable actually, so that's going to be a bit slow. But here is how to do it. So when you create a product, so I'm going to create, as Cedric did, a computer, for example. So here it is. You save it. Yeah, you can configure the price and the cost yourself, as well as the ordering rule and stuff. But here it is. You have this smart button here, which is the reordering rule. So you click on it, and you can create one. So you can name it as you want, link it to the right product, and then choose the right quantity. So you can say, for example, if you want a reordering rule of a minimum quantity of 5, you will put 5 here, and a maximum quantity of 50. This means that when you will have 5 computers left in your inventory, the ordering rule will be automatic and will order new computers. So you can also choose the quantity multiples. So that means that it will order by multiple. So if you choose 2, 4, for example, it will order them by 2 or by 4. And you can also define the lead time. So that is it. So you can save it, and it works.
All right, perfect, Hélène. So you have indeed earned the first points. Congratulations. So that is exactly how you configure a minimum stock rule. Quick reminder: don't forget that when you have a minimum stock rule, or if you have a reordering rule, you also have to tell to the system what to do once the minimum is hit. So either you purchase it or you manufacture it. So on your product, you go into the inventory tab. All right, and in the inventory tab, you don't forget to indicate the buy route or the manufacturing route, so that it triggers indeed a manufacturing order or a purchase order. But it was perfect. Congratulations! I knew that you could do it. That's amazing. All right, so you want to take a next one? You never know.
Can I add a customer to multiple price lists? So there is, I know that there are different types of price lists actually, and that there is several ways to configure them. So I don't know, where is it? Is it in the sales?
It is. But now, basically, if you, if at some point you're looking for a feature to activate into the sales, we have a new search bar that allows you to find very easily what you're looking for. But indeed, so it's here that you have to do to configure your price list.
So I know that, there are those two possibilities, but I don't know which one would be suited best for that.
All right. So basically, indeed. So Ellen is right in one point, is that you can choose different types of price lists, right? So you can add different price lists for a product, but you can't really add different different prices on the same clients. Why? Because otherwise, how will the system know which price list he needs to select? Now, two different ways of doing this. So if I retake the demo for a minute here, hop, here we go. A price list that you set on your customer into the database is only a default. All right. So if I go into the settings here, I will go have a quick look if I can activate the price lists. All right. So I go into the settings. Oh. Okay, once again, remember, very easy to find the different price lists. And I will just take the advanced price list here for the moment. All right. Now, normally in my demo data, I hope so, I already have a couple of price lists configured, so I don't need to do many more regarding that. Now, I need to wait for a little bit. Once again, it's one-time loading of the new data, and that's afterwards it goes way faster into the navigation, to the all-time navigation. So we go into my catalog, and I have my price list here. So I have a couple, then that's perfect. All right. You'll notice here that we have a field called selectable. I'll come back to that later because it might solve your issue. But in the first stage, indeed, what you can do is go into the contacts, and you will be able to add a price list to one of your contacts. So it means that, for instance, I only want to have my vendors, so I want my customers. So we'll filter on my customer, and on Agrolet, I can see that in my sales and purchase, I have a default sales price list, which means that if I create a sale order for Agrolet, I go into sales, I take my orders, I create a sale order, and I select Agrolet. Right, I have a default price list selected here, which is logical. Now, you're asking, can I have multiple price lists on my client? Actually, no. Per default, no, because you will select the default one. But nothing blocks you to just click on here and select any price list that you want for that order, depending if, you know, he has purchased something big, or if it's Christmas and you want to have a Christmas price list, something like that. Right. Now, another feature of Odoo is on the website. So on the website, remember that I told you that in the configuration of the prices, that if you clicked on selectable, that it was important. Well, it's because on the website, if you go into the configuration of the website, you are able, if you allow it, to select the prices that you want into your catalog. So basically, I think that I have to go into my configuration, my settings of my website first. I have to look for price lists, display websites, multiple price lists per person. So it should be okay here. All right, I don't see any more settings regarding that. So if I go back into the dashboard of my website, I go to my website and I go into my shop. Then normally I can somewhere, it all depends a bit on the, I should be able to select my price list. I know that for that feature I always have some trouble because I know I forget a detail or something. So maybe that I need to go into the price list and publish it. I'm not sure actually, but let's try it out. We go into the products, we go into the Benelux. I want it to be able on my website localhost, so that's okay. I guess it should normally work here. So what am I missing here? Maybe I have to be logged in, but normally, so I forgot a bit how you could do it exactly, but normally on the website itself, you should be able to select the prices, especially because I'm with the administrator here. So in the shop, I should be able to select my price list on the website. So I'm very sorry, I can't show you exactly how it works now because I could not find immediately how it's we could select it, but there is a function in Odoo to be able to select your price list within the website. We'll have a quick look as well, and if you're interested by the feature but that that you haven't found it yet like me, don't hesitate to ask our support. They will most definitely be able to help you out. Okay, so once again, if you have some issue at some point that you want to have more information about something that we talked about today, don't hesitate to submit a support ticket to our help desk by typing www.odoo.com/help. Alright, so we'll try to get a bit further on because we are taking some delays here. So Motto, referring to my first question, the orders come from the website and are many, so manual as a grouping is not possible, no other solution. Well, from the website itself, no. Then, in that case, what I would advise is to ask your clients to maybe change the way of working as well. So merging sales or delivery orders together is not possible indeed. If they do different orders, it's actually quite logical that from the website that they get different deliveries. It's like if you order on Amazon to different orders, well, you will get different packages. So basically, we don't have a functionality for that yet. Don't forget to say to your customer that from the V11 on, they have wish lists as well. So it is possible to go into the website itself, right? To go into the website in the shop, right? And maybe I have to go into this one. And to add to the wish list, the demo doesn't seem to have that either, so I'll go into the run bot. It's all a question of configuration, right? So sometimes you enable the function or sometimes you don't. It depends on our databases, basically. And so if I go to my website now and to my shop, I now have a wish list as well. So you can ask your customer, okay, do you hesitate about what you want? Well, during the day, add it to your wish list every time, tag, and so on. And then by the end of the day, send us the complete wish list that you want to have, so that you have one delivery order. But no, indeed, if they create different sales order, they will have different delivery orders. Now, even though they have different delivery orders, you can, for yourself, search on the customer into the inventory and do everything in one package, so that your customer gets two delivery sheets, but don't get two different packages. So that's also a possibility, by the way. Okay, so we have Jackie that says thank you. We have Nicolas Saint-Lay who has an appropriate comment. And we have someone with an Arabic name that I can't read. Maybe you can read the question, that way I can have a sip of water.
Sure. So, he says, hello, it's Sameh. I have a question about landed cost. So, how does it work in Odoo? And another question that he has is about user access rights. How can he make specific access right for one customer? And how to build a report.
All right, so that's quite of a heavy question.
Yes.
About the landed cost, I will be completely honest, I don't have much experience about it. So I think it's not really worth for me to go into detail regarding that, because I don't think I will be able to provide you immediately with some good answers. What I can check is, do we have any documentation regarding landed cost? I think we do. So if we go into the inventory app and we look for landed costs, we have here an entire document regarding landed costs. I don't have the experience with it, so I won't go through with it, but I think that the first thing that you can do is have already a look at that documentation, and that it can help you regarding regarding that point. If anything is still not clear, don't hesitate to go to one of our sales departments if you're not a client yet, or to ask to our support departments if you have a more specific question. About user access rights, how can make specific access rights for one customer? So I don't think that you mean customer. I guess that you mean user, right? Because it's an access right. Regarding access rights, or a very complex thing. For the moment, what we have in the standard for people just following is that you can specify access rights in standard groups. So basically, we made groups that can do or not do some stuff regarding for every user. So if you go into the settings here and you go to manage the access rights of the active users, you will be able for every user to give them more or less accesses to each and every app. All right. Now, if you want to make it even more specific, it's something that is not really covered during this functional training, because it's more of a technical approach. Basically, you can make it more specific by either going into the model. So if I go into my debug mode, so now we are a bit more into the technical side of Odoo. So if some people can't follow because you want to have the functional explanation, don't worry, it's normal, all right? So we'll go a little bit more technical now just to show you the logic. If you go into the technical side, you can go into the settings and you now have a technical menu. Technical menu is everything regarding how the system actually works. And on each model that you have into the database, we can have access rights. So basically, let's say that we want to modify the model of the partner, right? So we go look for partner contact here. We can see in the access rights here, okay, those groups have a read access, have a write access, a create access, and a delete access, right? Those groups can be modified, but it's not that easy. Why? Because one group can inherit from another one. So basically, if I give the access rights to my sales manager, it is possible that another group like employees inherits from the sales manager. In another way, it is possible that by gaining one group the right, you actually give it to other groups as well. So modifying the access right is quite complex. If you know what you're doing, you can of course play with it in a test database, but I would advise you to be quite careful with it. If you want to go even more specifically, then you can go into the technicals and go into the record rules. Record rules are actually a way to be able to prohibit some access to certain models respecting certain domain rules. Once again, guys, this is very technical, so if you're not technical persons, don't worry about it. I will get back to the functional side right after it. It's just to show some leads to SEMA. So basically, you can apply some technical rules if you have knowledge about domain. Now, let's get back then to the functional point of view. How can I modify my access rights of my customer from a functional point of view? Well, you can do that by using Studio. And that's actually kind of cool. Is that, for instance, if I go into my contact form, right, and I say that in my contact form, my email addresses are very private, so I don't want my low-level employees to be able to see the email address of my customer for some reason, right? Then I can go into the studio mode, so toggle into the studio modes, click on the field that is problematic, and add a visibility. So I can limit the visibility to certain groups. For instance, I say I only want the people that have administrative access rights to be able to see that email address, right? So remember, I created a new user with low access rights right before in the beginning of the session. If I now close Studio and I go into my lower access, I go into my contacts, and I look now in that model that I can still see it. So I have to see it I have to do it for every view. But on the form view, I don't have the access right on these documents. other access rights and help desk user. Okay, so I will just give myself a little bit of extra accesses for that particular user. So let's say I go into my settings, manage my access rights. I have the user of Hélène here, and I add, let's say, the sales manager, right? That's quite of a good access rights. I go back here, I update everything, and I enter CV. So I actually am currently allowed to do that. Other portal. Oh, okay, so maybe I'm a portal here. That's a bit strange. I should not. And which one was able? Did they say? Help desk user. Okay, so I'll just put myself as a help desk user. So once again, you see it, right? We are trying to play a bit with the access right, and it's already making it quite complicated. Why? Because access rights depend on different models, and you have tons of possible ways of getting to the information. So it's definitely not an easy job. But we'll just put the help desk manager here, just to see if now I can access my. Alright, so now I can access it, but notice that I don't see my email address anymore. Why? Because in Studio, I said that I don't want my user to be able to see that email address. Now, one last thing before we stop about access rights is that limiting visibility doesn't mean security. So that is really a rule that you have to remember. If you limit the visibility, it's simply not to be able to your customer, for your user to see the information like it displays. It is not blocked. It means that if your user is a bit creative and that he finds out like how to export data or how to get it through another way, he can still manage it. Like now you see I've hidden this email address in this view, but if I'm not careful, I go back into this one, I can see it here. Right? So limiting visibility is not security. If you want security rules, so if you have very confidential information, then you need to go through technical record rules. And for that, you need technical knowledge. All right? So I hope it answered your question. The last question that you had is and how to build a report. If you might be a bit more specific about what report exactly you would like to build, that would help me out, Sema. But now I have to go over a bit on the other questions. So we have one question from 9:57, so we're half an hour late, so we'll try to get a move on. On the approval, can the number, so it's once again from Actab 2, can the number of people approving payments after a purchase order is awarded be adjusted? Right now, a bill can just be validated and that's it. I'm not 100% sure what you mean.
I think he wants like the bill to be approved and not just confirmed by the employee creating it. You know what I mean?
Well, that is what we saw right in the beginning, right? Is that's when you can have a one-level approval, but no, actually, your approved payments after a purchase order is awarded by adjusted.
I don't know.
The bill actually, the bill is just a bill. So basically, when you get a vendor bill, it is the bill that you need to put into your system. So there is no level of approval to enter the vendor bill as you simply have to put it into your system. So basically you can't do a level of approval for that, but the people that can validate bills are only the one who have a certain access right in the accounting module. So you can maybe play with the access rights of the accounting module to be able to see that only a couple of people can validate the bill and actually do the payment. But we don't have a function to handle that. I mean, we don't have a function to handle approval of bills. Only people with the necessary access rights, like accountants, can approve, validate bills and enter into the accounting. Then we have a question from Eike Schiers, once again. Turn down for what? So we have one from Nicolas Sanlet, but we will just skip that one if you don't mind, because we need to get forward. But how your colleague will be able to answer 10 questions if you don't let time nor opportunity to do so. Hey, that's not true.
He does.
Yeah, I do give the opportunity. You know what? You will answer the next one.
Yeah, I don't remember what was the question of.
Okay, so then we have one question. Even if you have multi-location, it shows undefined.
But he had a previous question earlier, so I guess that's linked
All
to
right.
your response. But
So once again, like we say, if you think it's a bug in V11, don't hesitate to report it back
yeah.
to us. We have once again we have a huge program. We are doing our best, and we have a huge debug team that is working day and night to try to. And it's really true actually because we
Yeah,
have
it
one
is.
day, we have one team in the US and one team in Europe, so they are working day and night to be able to fix a maximum of what is possible. But we need your help and your patience, of course, to and understanding to be able to to fix the bugs. Then we have one question from Damien. Hi there, Damien, Odoo partner. All right, hey, how you doing? Then we have question from 1010, so 10 out of 10. So I hope that you're still there, Jiddu. I have an inventory location WH stock and not HW, both internal. Only items in W stock show up in quantity available, in products quantity available. Does inventory have to be in warehouse to show? Yes. So basically, yes, that is a good question. Do you have any idea?
no, I don't.
All right. Well, basically, in terms of inventory, it is quite. It's a term of configuration. So basically, if we go into the inventory module, so right here, we get into the inventory and we do the configuration of the locations. So I have to have a multiple location warehouse. Here we go. Location. So here we go. So we have different locations in one warehouse. If you do not link the warehouse, the main warehouse, to that location, it will not count it as an available product to be sold. It's actually quite of a useful feature. Why? Because that way you can have different kinds of locations that you don't that you have and that you don't want to specially sell. I'll give you one example that I have from one of my customers just recently, is that he sells, for instance, a bottle of wines, right? But some bottles cannot be sold because, like, the label is wrong, or like the finishing touch of the bottle was not good enough, so he doesn't want to sell that to the customer. But it's still a stock item. He wants to keep it because he wants to, like, use it to be able to do tastings or at events, stuff like that, all right? So what you do is that in the configuration, you go into the location. You have one stock location here. You can create another stock location like reserve that you don't want to show into your available sellable location warehouse, right? You have the reserve, and then in the data, so if we go into the product, so we have our computer, I will update my quantity on hand. I will say that this is actually a stockable product, and okay, so I cannot do that. All right, so I will create a new product then. I will just take my example of the bottle of wine. All right, so it's a stockable product. And then in a stockable product, we have a quantity on hand. And so I will say that in WH stock, I have like 10 bottles that I want to be able to sell, right? So we see the quantity on hand here gets higher. But I also say that in my other stock location reserve, I have 5 because they are not perfect. I don't want to sell them, but I want to have them in stock. Notice that my on-hand quantity did not move, which is normal. It's expected behavior. But if you want to see how much do I have in my entire stock, you click on it and you'll see that you will have 10 quantities in WH stock and 5 in the reserve, right? So it means that when you make a sale order, you know that you have some in the reserve, but you create a sale order for Agrolet, for the bottle of wine, right? And if I sell 10, no problem, because I have 10 in my WH stock. However, if I sell 11, I have a problem because I don't have it in my WH stock, right? If you want to see everything that you can sell into your quantity available, simple fix, you simply go into your inventory, right? So you go into your inventory, you go into the configuration of the locations, and you simply say, okay, actually this reserve has as parent location W, right? And then if we go back into my products, you will see that I now have 15 quantity on hand. All right. So I hope that answered your question, Jidu, but we have to get a bit forward because we are getting a bit delayed and we want to answer all of the questions. Alexandro, you're asking, I have Odoo 11 Community installed on Ubuntu. Can I also install Odoo 11 Enterprise with 2 services and 2 config files? I'm very sorry, but I don't have enough experience into local installs to know if that is possible. I don't know, simply because it's more of a technical question. Don't hesitate to come back next week, maybe if you want, because then we will have one of our technical consultants answering questions. But right now we are busy with Odoo Online, so I don't really know about that. Then Maxime came back to us about the products in the settings. I'm very sorry, Maxime, I don't really remember the question that you had. If you're still there and that you want to ask a question, maybe can you put the entire question back again into the chat so that we can get back to it. Otherwise, we won't get forward into the different kinds of questions. Now we have Joseph, who came back as well. Thanks for your info, but I don't have a bill of material in my Odoo. In which application does it belong? At the moment I have installed only sales, purchase, inventory, accounting. Alright, which application, Hélène?
I don't know.
That's
a tricky question.
It's not a tricky question. I know that you know that. So, in which application is the bill of material?
In sales.
No, it's not in sales.
Well, see?
Try again.
Inventory.
No. Try again.
Manufacturing.
Yes. Congratulations. So, indeed, to have the bill of material, you have to install the manufacturing app. Joseph, I hope that answered your question. So it was in the make to order settings. So Maxime, once again, please put maybe everything together back into one question at the end of the chat. Otherwise, we won't be able to answer everyone's question. So we have a question from Sid. Maybe that you can read it that way.
Okay, so Sid asks us, I created a mass mailing from name@company.com. When I created a test mail, I received from catchall@company.com instead of name@company.com. Would you please advise?
So indeed, normally in the mass mailings, so it all depends from where you did it, but normally in the mass mailing, if you create a mass mailing campaign, you're able to enter the from email address here. We can do a small test here. So I'll do a subject from test, but I have to send it to another email address. So basically, I have my from here. I will select a simple template layout. So that is very good, like this. So here we go, and I will send a test mailing to well, maybe to you actually.
Yeah.
So because you have another email address,
Sure.
so can you give me your email address?
My Odoo one or
Odoo one, yeah.
ebr@odoo.com.
Now, don't abuse this email address, guys. I know that you're very enthusiastic, but all right. So we send out a test mail to EBR, and normally she should have received the test mailing coming from my email address. Normally,
Nope.
no, it is still in draft actually. So maybe actually I have to put it. Because I have a test base, so the crons are deactivated into the test base. So I think that is the one here. Okay, I will send it now, just because the crons are deactivated actually.
Okay, so is it sent?
No, so that is actually another one. So emails I have to. No, so those are not the ones. So normally in the from, I will just have a look. It should have been sent, but it might take some while actually. Even for a test mailing, it should.
Yeah, I didn't receive.
Did you receive it? We'll do a second one just to make sure. All right. Basically, so maybe this is because we have a test base, so we can test it immediately. But Sid, if that is the case, normally if you put in the from here, the people should indeed have the from that. So if that is not the case, I would open a ticket into our support department so that we can have a closer look. Because you're right, it should take the from email address too. Now the reply to. So if you click on the reply to, might be the catch-all. So if the from is that one, but that if you click on reply that you have the catch-all, that is normal.
Yes.
All right. So please make sure that that is indeed the case. All right. So let's just see how much questions we have left. So we should. Oh. Okay, so we should be able to answer all of that. Guys, if I just can ask you a quick question. We have people that are in the chat putting individual questions like entry should be cash 100, cash 90, etc., etc. Please provide us with the question in one chat messages. Otherwise, we are having trouble to handling all of your questions. All right? So that would be very cool if you could just help us out and put us a complete question into the chat and not into different chat boxes. Especially because sometimes you have other people that intervene, so your question is then split up between the comments of other people. All right, so where were we at this point?
That one.
Yeah. So once again for Moto, what is invoice lines on the create order lines form for?
Invoice line, create order line.
Moto, I don't really know what you mean. Could you maybe explain to us how that we get to your request? Because I don't really know invoice lines or the lines on an invoice, if that answers the questions. On the create order lines form, I don't know what the create order lines form is actually. So if you could just patch us through to the model that you're referring to, that would be very helpful. Then we have Ferran that asks, hi, I want to listen when I change the stage of an item. I'm using Zapier. Okay.
Don't think that is related to Odoo.
I don't think that is related to Odoo indeed. So I don't know what Zapier is. I want to listen when I change the stage of an item. Ferran, does it say to maybe provide us a bit more with a bit more information, because I don't really know what it is. Apparently Zapier is a ERM as well to automate your work, but I don't have experience with that system. So if you have a question about Odoo specifically, we will be able to help you. But unfortunately, about Zapier specifically, we won't have the problem. We won't have the possibility to answer indeed. And we have a question from Baz.
Okay, so is it possible to give a customer a credit limit? This was possible in V10, and I can't find this function in V11.
That's a good question. I think that somebody already asked me that at some point. I think that we had a field called credited limits in the partner. So maybe I'll go into the run bot. So I'll just go into my my clients. Oh, this is actually back in French. So just for the sake of the argument, I will put it back into English. Sorry, guys. Here we go. And into English, normally we should have sales and purchase. So is a customer, website module, accounting, vendor terms, fiscal position, partner. Indeed, it doesn't look like it's there anymore. What I can do is I'll have a quick look into our debug mode. Alright, I will have a look at the fields that are still existing. Fields view get, no, that's not what I wanted. It is view fields. Let's see if we still have something about credits. Total amount this customer owes you. That's not really credit limit. So we still have the fields. So let's see, maybe that they made it invisible for some reason. So I'm just checking, all right, how the report is based, okay? It's not in the view anymore. Okay, so apparently the field still exists, boss, but it's not in the view anymore, so there might be a reason why they deleted the fields. Maybe that it was for a usability feature, or maybe they removed it and placed it somewhere else. What I would ask you then is to open a quick ticket to our support department and ask them directly so that they can check with the product owner. All right, but the fields still exist, so I'm hoping that your functionality is still available. But sometimes indeed our R&D team decide sometimes to remove certain fields or certain functionality because they are not widely used or because they are causing usability issues, but I don't know all of their tasks by heart. So don't hesitate to ask to our support department directly, and I hope that they will be able to provide you with a better answer that I was here today. Romary Maggot, can I prevent the user from changing the prices in the PO?
Isn't that doable with the access rights?
Well, so it should be doable with access rights indeed, but once again, that's customization. So basically, what we can try out here is that if I go back into my demo, they'll always be able to change the. Actually, no. So actually, the on the PO itself in full standards, even the lower access right will be able to change the amount. However, I don't think that is the most complicated thing ever to change using access rights. Indeed, we can give it a quick try, but once again, I'm not the biggest customizer ever. But if we go into the settings technical and that we go have a look at the models, and we go look at the PO lines, so we have, I guess it's more of purchase. So we have the purchase order line here, and we have the model here with the access rights. And so basically everybody can read. Not everybody can delete and create. But apparently, so you have to be a purchase user to be able to write and create. So one way that we could maybe do it is if I can do that. Okay. I thought I was able to do that. But if I delete that one, I'm just testing, right? So once again, if I break everything, guys, don't be mad. Now, if I go into here, so I have the purchase model. I will request a quotation. Of course, now, now indeed, at this stage, like you see, you know, I can't create. So basically, what I should then do is go back into my access rights, add to my group purchase user. Here we go, and say that he has a create and write. But so basically, actually, you have a problem here because on the model, either he can read and write, but if he can write, he can also update. So one quick fix, if that is a solution, is to change the access right here for the purchase user group and only give him the read access. That way he can only see it, but he cannot modify it. Right, but that way he also won't be able to add new fields. So it's one or the other. Other way, he's able to update the fields with the prices, or he can only write it. So basically, if I do it like this, right? By the way, we always have to fill this in for some reason, but you can basically fill in whatever you want. But right now, that has as consequence that on my purchase order here, if I create a purchase order with my user here, so with computer and with the price and everything, so unit price of 100, save, right? So with my other user, I can have a look at the purchase order here, but I cannot modify them. Right? So I can change, I can have a look at the computer, etc., but I cannot modify my line. So that is one solution. A quick win. If you need a more specific one for the subtotal field, then you will need to have some customization, I think. Now I'm just thinking about something else now, but if I go into my and then I edit my list view subtotal here, no, or maybe the unit price here, you can potentially make it invisible, actually. Huh. Or you limit the visibility. So basically, so you don't make it invisible, but so it's possible to play actually with it. So if you so if I want to undo, I'll try once again. So one of the possibilities that you could do is that if you don't want them to be able to update the unit price, then you simply go into the unit price here and you say that it is invisible but conditional, right? So it is invisible if, or even better, so you limit the group, the visibility to the group that has purchase user. All right. That way, if I close it, it means that I can give back the update right to my user. So I can go into my settings here and into my models again. Purchase order lines. I will simply create back the right access to my other customer, and now basically if I create a new purchase order, I still not, maybe I have to refresh. Okay, apparently I'm still not able to create. So once again, I told you, right? So playing with accesses, right, is kind of a complex. It's because I don't have the create access, of course. So purchase user, I can maybe just give create, but not write. I save. And so I can add a product, bottle of wine. I save it. Save. Now, if I edit it, I can change it. I can still change it anymore. Okay. So basically, yeah. So once again, so you can hide the units price fields for your customer if you want using Studio. So that way they won't be able to update the unit price here. Once again, it's a view security rule. It's not a real security rule. Or you can simply go into the model and don't give them the right access. Once again, if that is a bit too complex to play with the access right, don't hesitate to go back to our sales department to ask them for more detailed information. All right. Okay, so right now, so it's 10:36, so we are answering a question 20 minutes late, so that's kind of okay still, so we are trying to catch up. All right. Can we configure a default warehouse according to the user when user creating a quotation? I think that should be possible. So if I go into my sale order here and I create a sale order here, I want this field, right, to be so this warehouse to be a default per user. So on my user here, I can go into my debug mode and say, okay, I will set a default. I can only select the salesperson and channel. So basically, apparently not. Apparently, you can't do a default per user. I thought it would be possible with the set default channel, but in full standard it doesn't seem possible. I don't think, however, that is very complicated to customize. So once again, if you want more information then regarding that, you should maybe ask one of our sales departments, Capilla. I'm still hoping that you're still there. Romary is asking also, can I restrict certain users to only certain warehouses? Once again, access rights, guys. So if you want to restrict access, you need to modify the access right, and you need to modify either the security rules, so the record rules, or the model. So you can play with it and see if you can figure your way out of it by modifying the model, but you normally need some technical knowledge. So if you need some help for that, I would advise you to get back to our sales department as well, and to ask for an estimation or to ask for some more detailed explanation. As I told you, it's not an easy peasy thing to do. All right. All right. So then we have Usman Fazets. Still, I'm not able to post discount entry when I sell product on sales price.
Yeah, it's the long.
It's the long. Okay. Okay. We'll try to figure out the question. But once again, Usman, for the next time, if you could simply put your entire question in one chat, that would help us all.
Maybe you did at the end.
We'll see if you did it in the end. That's a good question. That's a good remark. Usman. So we have something else from Usman.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll take your question right back then. Right after that, we'll just take quickly the question that was right above it. So of Octab 2, how can I set the outgoing email that customer seems to be different for each user? Example, staff B sending purchase order in vendor A, vendor 2 should be different emails. In the templates. So basically, the only way, normally if your staff is sending out emails from the chatter normally, so if I go into, let's say, a purchase order, right, into that purchase order, if I just send a message out and I type something ill, it will take the email of my user. That is something per default that cannot be changed. However, if you use templates, so for instance, if you say, okay, I want to send my RFQ by mail, right, this RFQ, I need to have a test. All right, .com. Well, I have here my my RFQ, and on the template that I'm using, so this one, I can go select in the email configuration the from here. So that's a code, right? But you can as well enter a fixed email address if you prefer. That code simply says that it will take the, I think it's the salesperson or the one, no, it's the one that created the object. So basically it takes the email of the one that created the purchase order. So if you have some Python knowledge, you can add a code here to generate a different email, or you can have a fixed email per template, but that is a bit the only way of handling that, basically. All right. So I hope that helped.
You want me to read the
Yeah,
question?
go ahead.
So the question of Husman was, I want to sell a product with discount 10%, but Odoo does not generate discount entry. How can I handle it? Entry should be cash 90, discount 10 to product sale 100 in account.
Okay. Now I guess that you're using the POS, right? So because right above you said you said that you were using the POS or not? I forgot.
Post entry discount.
To post discount. Okay, so it's not really the POS. Well, actually, indeed, I don't think that the entry immediately posts discount. So basically, let's try it out together. If I do a sale order, right, and I say that I want to be able to put discounts on it. So I have a sale order for my client Agrolais here. I put my product of my computer. It's 12,000. So we will take your example, right? So sale is 100
and 10% discount.
Okay, so the unit price is a 100, and I calculate a 10% discount. Now, the 10% discount here has an immediate influence on the subtotal, right? So this means indeed that you will have only one entry, if I'm not mistaken. So I save this, I confirm my sale, and I have one discount here on the invoice. So if I create my invoice, right, the total amount of my invoice is 90. right? So in the untaxed amount. Now I will just delete the taxes just for the sake of the, just for the purpose of the example, right? And if I validate, all right, I don't have the access rights. I'm sorry, so I'm in the wrong. I was in the wrong user. So if I take my last one here and I go into my invoice, right, I can validate it. And by validating it, I have one journal entry. Once again, this is Belgian accounting, but with 1/400 client debits. And that is actually normal because the total amount of your invoice in the end was 50. Now, if you use the POS and you generate a general account, that is indeed possible. So if we have the point of sale, we can, in the configuration of the point of sale, go say that we want a general discount, not linked to one product, but a general discount. So we'll say we have a global discount, right? Right here. All right. So we have general discounts right here, and so in the point of sale, then if I go back into my dashboard and I launch a new point of sale session, so I'm selling from the point of sale. There we are having a global discount, right? So we are selling the computer. Once again, I changed the price to 100, but I want to have a discount of 10%. Look, it's a completely different line. So that is the moment where you will have an entry line for that amount. So I have the payment in cash, I pay, I validate, I go to next order, and I close. By closing it, you will now see that I will have the possibility to validate and close and post my entries. And in my orders, I will see that in my journal entry, I have the 700, which is the original price, and as well the 701 in the debit for my discounts. But basically, when you add a discount in general accounting, it decreases the total amount that you need to get paid on your invoice. So basically, you will have one journal entry, which is the expected behavior, and one line for the total amount of that currency. Now, one thing that I can think of that you can do eventually if you want two lines is to add one discount product, right? And to link that to a discount account. And that way you will be able then to add a line, but of course you will need to calculate manually how much your 10% discount is in your line. So I hope that answered your question, Usman, and don't hesitate if you have any more. All right.
So Moto asked, so yeah, he had a question above and that we couldn't answer because we didn't understand. So what he said is that when you start a new sale order and add new items to it, there appears a form where you choose the product and the quantity. There is an invoice line list. What is it?
Oh, okay. So we create a sale order.
Add an item. And there should be invoice lines.
Invoice lines. Okay, exactly. Actually, here there is an invoice line. That's a good question.
Is it a Runbot? No.
It's mine indeed. So I have the bottle of wine here, and what can I add here? Huh. Okay, I think it might be for if you have an invoice that you haven't, well, we know what we will try. Here we go.
Will it be for an invoice that you haven't, like...
I think it's for an invoice that, if you create an invoice that does not have a sale order yet.
You can have.
I think, but I'm not 100% sure about it because I haven't used it yet. So that's actually a very good question. We should investigate that. Let's try it out. I have my accounting here. What do I have in my sale order line? So I have my customer invoices. I have one. And on this one, it doesn't seem like it is created from SO3. So that is a bit strange because I'm not.
Yeah, it's already linked.
So it's already linked to an SO3. Alright, and so if I go into my sale order and I create one for LAN, a new one, I can add that invoice line.
Why isn't there a number so we can recognize it?
That is actually a good question. Invoice line. It appears to be the open invoice lines, so the ones that we haven't reconciled with the payment yet. But honestly, I don't yet know what that is. So basically, if I select this one, let's say, okay, conversion rates from a different category, so that is possible. But let's say I have a computer. Or if I take any other one, I take bottle of wine, can I also add it? No. It's a good question. I'm sorry, I don't know. Actually, it's something that I haven't used yet. I think that the answer should be quite straightforward. So apparently we have a small usability problem here. Now, if I'm not in debug mode, do I still see it? Because right now I'm in debug mode.
And I can't see it on the demo.
And on the demo you can. So apparently it's hidden in the debug mode. So I don't think it's something that you're supposed to use outside of the debug mode. I don't really know what it does exactly. I think it is to add open invoices to sales orders, but as if it is hidden in the debug mode, it's not something that is supposed to be used on everyday basis. I think my opinion at the moment is that it's to add basically a sale order to an invoice line that hasn't been reconciled yet. That's my theory for the moment, but I'm not 100% sure. So if you want to be completely sure, Moto maybe ask immediately to our support so that they can investigate further than me. And for my own personal knowledge, I will ask as well so that if you come back next time that I'm once there again, I will be able to answer that question. So I'm very sorry I don't know it yet. But I will inform myself, and for you, I would advise to then open a small ticket so that your support departments can answer your question easily afterwards. So once again, don't forget, guys, if we can't answer on the spot, you always have our entire support team who is right behind us that can help you out as well, simply by opening a ticket to odoo.com/help. All right.
Okay. So, Maxime again asked, what does the made to order setting does? It's at the product setting purchase. So I can answer that.
Woo! Hit the button.
That was easy.
Exactly. All right, go ahead.
So,
maybe I can give you my your screen. That way you can show it on the...
Yeah, sure.
Here you go.
So, when you have a product that has the made to order box checked, we will create an example. So, yeah, I'm just gonna put a bottle as a stockable product and as a buy product and make to order. So here it is. What is gonna happen is when I will create actually a sale order for that product. So let's do it. Okay, we'll have the bottle. I don't have, yeah, okay, great, and save it. I'm gonna confirm the sale. There is no vendor on my product, so.
That, by the way, is one of the very cool new features of the V11. Right before, when you use routes, you had procurements that were created to be able to use that function. So even if there was a mistake in the configuration, you couldn't see it. Right now, indeed, we forgot to add a vendor into the product. But the system immediately tells you, hey, we cannot do what you're requesting from us because we don't have any vendor.
So I'm going to simply add a vendor. Here we go. Save. Should I actually retry and recreate the sale order?
No, it will work if you validate the sale order directly. It should work now.
No, it should work? Okay. Yeah. So now when I go to my purchase...
No, you have to validate your sale order again because it didn't validate. It's blocked. It's a blocking message, by the way. So if there is something wrong with the routes, it's a blocking message.
You remember the number actually?
Ooh, that's maybe not. But
Okay.
maybe check create on the filter on the order date, and that way you will be. So you can here click on the order date filter, and I guess that is the last one that you selected.
I didn't.
Well, I don't know. We are
Yeah,
create a new
I
one.
will
You know what?
create a new one.
we are in live support here
Yeah, it's
today.
okay.
You know, it's okay. We are chill all together.
So,
So
this is it. I save and I confirm myself. So this time I have a vendor, so I have no error message. So when I come to my purchase, there is directly a purchase order created for my bottle. So this is what the make to order is to create directly either a purchase order if it's a buy route, either a manufacturing order if it's a manufacture route for the product that is ordered.
it's basically a made to stock. So in other terms, if you use that functionality, it means do not check my stock. So do not check if I have enough in my stock. Directly create the procurement that I need, like Elaine
Yeah.
just explained. Well, that's awesome. So you have your second point.
And
Hey.
here, actually, in this case, we can see that there is another product. That means that somewhere someone created another sale order for another product that this vendor sells to. So this is why there is one purchase order for both of those products.
Exactly. So basically, they merge. So if you have a demand for one vendor, they will merge the demand so that you can order everything in once. Make your life easier, right?
So OctaveB2 say thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome, Octavie2.
Okay, next is Vincent. Hi, can we set a manufacturing order or a work order directly on an analytic account?
No. No, not that I know of. So good. I guess that it's because you estimate that every manufacturing order has a cost, which I can get my head around, of course. But indeed, at this stage, if I just take the screen over again, at this stage, I don't think that is something that we actually do. Manufacturing, so if we take the manufacturing orders and we create one, I don't think that we have a... No, so I don't think that we have an analytical account at this point. I get why. I get why that's something that would be useful, because indeed manufacturing has a cost, so you would like to know what the cost of that manufacturing is. But I think that in terms of research and development, we're not quite there yet, because how do you calculate the cost, basically? Is it simply the cost of your products? Is it the cost of your machines, of your employees, etc.? So it's a good question. I get why you need it, but in the standard version at the moment, we don't have the functionality to add analytical accounts on the manufacturing order. I'm sorry. Stay tuned for new versions. We might integrate something like that in the future. If you want to double check, for this point I'm 90% sure. So if you want to double check, just to be completely sure, don't hesitate to also open a ticket to our support departments so that they can help you and have a double check. Okay?
Okay, so another question from Vincent was, when I start a manufacturing order, I have employees that work on different work centers. How can I plan their work? So I know that you can create different work centers actually in our manufacturing
Module.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. So would that be just the answer, or
Yeah.
do you see something?
Well, so basically, planning is not the strong suit of Odoo, if I may be completely honest. So provisional planning is not the thing that we do the best. But indeed, you can have different work orders and have different users assigned to it, if I'm not mistaken. So basically, let's say that I have... so if I have different work centers, you can have people that just come to the work center and say, okay, I start working on it, and then I close that one and I go to another one. What you can do as well is to have in the reporting, so if I go in the settings here, and that I enter my work orders here, and that's it at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're waiting for you to. And how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
How's the first live support doing?
It's great. It's
Nolan?
very
great.
interesting.
Ah,
Yeah.
perfect.
I'm learning a lot of things.
All right. All right. So basically, what you need to do here is go into the reporting, and then actually on the different plannings here, you can have a planning by work center, right? And by work center also go grouping them by employee, basically by I guess, or by user maybe, by no. Okay, so I guess that then it's only the view per so if you do the planning by production and work center. So yeah, so indeed to answer your question is that we can't really have a view on how to schedule every employee on every work center. What we attempt today is that you plan the different work centers. Say, okay, these work centers need to be done, and that your employee then knows, okay, well, I have to do this one first and then go into the next one. So we don't have very specific thing here to plan your different employees if they work at 2 work centers at the same time. But from a technical point of view, they can, of course, start working at 2 work centers if that is possible at the same time, just by assigning themselves to the work order, basically. So I guess that answers your question. Vincent, if you have any more, don't hesitate.
Okay, so another question from Octob2. So does Odoo have a learning management module or integration with Moodle learning management system? So I actually don't think so, but we can check on the apps.
Of course. Up.
Moodle. So yeah, anytime you have a question about a connector with Odoo to anything else, you can always go to our app store. So when you go to odoo.com, in the menu here, you will be able to click on third-party apps. So please note that those apps are only available for people using Odoo self-hosted and not online. And here is what we have for Moodle. Actually, this is an Odoo ASA module, so this is also available for online users. And yeah, it was for V7 actually. I don't know if that is really up to date, but
I don't think it is.
No,
I don't think it is anymore.
So yeah, very sorry. We had one, but it seems like
it's simply it was for the event of Moodle, so probably that the learning management the Moodle learning management system maybe wasn't the same one. Now, what we have as well in terms of learning is that we have our own Odoo Academy functional training center.
Yes,
right?
we do.
So we can maybe show that. We have to say that it is not yet, unfortunately, integrated with Odoo exactly. So if you need people to learn about Odoo, you can always go into our Odoo functional Thinkific, it's called, I think. Thinkific.
Yeah, that is how it's called.
Thinkific. And basically, for all enterprise users, for all online users that purchase a Success Pack, they get 1 year of free Odoo functional training center access. So basically, if you want the help of some consultants like myself or like any of my colleagues, unfortunately you won't have access to our lovely Hélène because she is a support agent. But if you need some help from functional consultants and that you purchase either Success Pack, even if it's 25 hours, 50 hours, 100 hours, then you can have access to our online courses as well. But we don't have a direct integration about how to manage courses within Odoo. Now you can build a website, of course, so that is possible, which maybe surveys if it helps, but something more than that is not available at the moment in online. Of course, like Hélène said, if you want to check for integrations with third-party apps, that's possible, but please remember that it is only for the enterprise version in local, not our online SaaS platform.
Okay. So I guess that answered the question. The next one is from Fabio Thielen.
Oh, that's a name I know.
Really?
yeah, Fabio, he likes to come back every single time I'm online, I have the impression.
Okay, so welcome Fabio. His question is, can you show how to make a task in Helpdesk? recurring, like an agenda item. Example, scheduled maintenance that needs to be done weekly, monthly, etc. So I want that task to be created automatically.
In the help desk.
Do you know much about help desk?
I do know a little bit about help desk, but you are supposed to know more about help desk because
Actually,
it's your job.
we don't use it.
You don't use the help desk? No. What is that? What is happening? Actually, you might not know it, but I think that once our database will migrate to V11, you will use the help desk.
Yeah.
So basically, into the help desk, it is. I don't think it's possible to create from standards automatic tickets. If that is what you want. So recurring tickets that come back. I have a bit of trouble understanding why you would have recurrent tickets coming into the help desk. Now you might have a reason for that, but what it's possible to do is do it via a cron. So basically, we might. It might be possible. I'm just trying something out here, Fabio. So once again, I'm not sure about the result, but I have one idea. Oh yeah.
Screens.
Sorry, I forgot that we have 2 screens, so you know it's a bit of a hazard. I have one idea what we might do basically. No ticket tasks. Okay, so that already makes more sense. So you want to have automatic tasks. Now, I have the impression that something is possible using Studio, so I'm just trying something out, but I do not guarantee the result, Fabio, so please don't judge me if it doesn't work immediately. So basically, if we go into the tasks, sometimes we can go into Studio and create automations, right? So we have the automation menu here, and we can create an automated action. And so I can say I want to create a new record. Hey, I think that actually might work. So let's say I want to create a new task, right? Which one do I want to create? I want to create, from the model, I want to create a task. And I want to create the target model is also task, right? The link using field is actually a field that you can use, but that's if you... it's only usable actually when you want to create a new record starting from another one. So the starting point is, for instance, a task, and you want to create, I don't know, a sale order automatically. Well, then you can make a link between the sale order and the task that you just created. All right? And so what do you want? So I guess that what you want here is to the fields. So from the task, the state, well, it should be new. So you can... Actually, in the value tab here, especially if you know a bit of Python expressions, you can add the information that you want into the task. Maybe a description, a name, or something like that. I just want to see if I can maybe update the name automatically. Once again, guys, for people just tuning in, I'm just going on a complete ramp here. You know, it's crazy Friday. So, so I'm just trying something out. I'm not sure it will work, but if it will, I will be quite proud of myself. So, what we are doing now for Fabio is trying to automatically create a new task every week, a recurring task, basically. For that, I need Odoo Studio, and in Odoo Studio, I can create an automated action, right? So I create my automation here, and I just put the action name, create a new task, the model task. I say that the action that I want is to create a new record. Which one? Which is the target model that I want to create? Well, a task, right? I want as well the display name of the project task to be like recurrent task, right? That is a value that I want to be able to put into my the display name of my task. And now, when do I trigger? When do I create my new task? I want to base it on a timed condition. So, oh, okay. I thought it was possible to make it recurrent, but maybe that it's not really that. What we can maybe do then is not do it exactly like that. I will save it. I need to fill in a trigger condition. I was hoping that it would be possible to base it on a timed condition. Trigger date. Search more. All right. Then I think it's not an automated action. It's a scheduled action, actually. So once again, let's try something else, right? We have no other questions. Do I have some time to?
Yeah, just 2 new ones.
We have 2 new ones. Okay, so we can.
1 minute ago.
All right, so we can try some stuff out and just. That's the best way to learn, by the way, about Odoo is to try stuff out. It won't work always, but we can always try it by doing it the best way we can. So we have the scheduled actions here. And in the schedule actions, I can okay, well look, in my scheduled actions here, right, it's exactly the same thing. So if I go into my technical settings, but now we are getting a bit outside of Studio, so what I want to tell you is, if you're an online user, be careful, because in migrations and everything that is done using Studio will be supported. Everything that is done outside of Studio won't. Now, if I remember Fabio well, I think that he was an enterprise user anyway, and even a partner, if I'm not mistaken. So he will maintain his own code, basically. But I think that it's possible to do it with a scheduled action, right? So we will say that my scheduled action is here is create task. Right, the model that I want to do is a task. I want to create a new record that is called task. All right. I want to create a new model task. Once again, the data that I want to write is the field display name, and I want to say that it is automatically created task, and here we go. All right, and here I have my schedule. So I say, okay, my schedule user is Cedric, and I want to execute it every, what did you want? Fabio, did you remember? Every week or every day? I don't remember what you wanted exactly.
I don't remember.
Done weekly or monthly? Okay, well, let's say weekly, right? So I want it to be done one time a week here. The next execution date would be today, let's say, no, so the 15th of the 12th at 11:29, so we're a bit away from that, but we will trigger it manually anyhow. So I will just put it for the next execution date for next Friday, right? And I save it. I think that so now it's on and it's served, so it will automatically run every week. But if I do it for a run manually, I have no mistake. So I think that if now I go back into my tasks, all right, I have a look. Oh, I have no tasks. Let's see if I re-update it. Did it create anything? It didn't create my tasks. Oh, that I'm disappointed. So what did I do wrong? So the model to base on is normally the task. I want to create a new record. Create right target model with the task. Display name should be the value. I don't really know what I'm doing wrong here. Maybe that I'm targeting the wrong model. Maybe if I try something else. So let's say I wanted to target from another one. So let's say task stage. I'm just trying something out, right? I save. Run manually. Unfortunately, it did not create my task. Okay, so I'm a bit blocked here to be complete. Can I create a task without anything? So I just need my task title normally, which is, by the way, the field name. Oh, maybe that what I need to do is that I need to change not the display name, but simply the name field. I have no other field than display name. All right. You know what I will try to do is maybe not the task stage, but try with the project. I start from a project and I want to create a new record, and I save it manually. So it should work every time that I do something for my project. And so basically, if I create a project, because I have no project at the moment, create 0 tasks. Okay, let's see from there. Still no. All right, so Fabio, I'm sorry, I tried something out. In my opinion, it should have worked. It looked like the infrastructure is here to do it, so to be able to have an action that from a certain model creates a new record as a task, and you can write data on it and make it turn every week. So I think it should work. I don't know exactly why mine doesn't work exactly right now. What I will do is first of all go have a look myself into how it works after the session, so that next time I'm able to answer that kind of question. And what I would advise you is to maybe ask to our support as well. So you ask to our support and you say, okay, I've seen the live session and I've asked the question if we could create a task automatically. We had a lead with a scheduled action, but with doing a scheduled action like this, it doesn't seem to create a task. Can you explain to me how to make my scheduled action work? And I think that the support will be able to answer you more precisely than what I am doing right now. So don't hesitate to do that. And for all of you watching and that are a bit disappointed that it didn't work, I'm sorry, and I will inform myself for them next time. But normally this should be, I think, the functional way of reaching that kind of demand in terms of automations. All right.
All right, thank you. So next question is from Bart Stelder. He's asking, multi-company, you warn for using administrator in. Can you explain why? So I'm very aware of this issue, but do you know actually why?
I know why.
Great!
And you don't?
I don't.
Oh, you certainly do.
No, I don't.
All right.
I know that, yeah, we prevent, but...
Yeah, it's actually very simple. The administration in multi-company needs to be used only for and solely for configuration, not for day-to-day task. Why? It's because we have, like we said before, we have a lot of access rights, we have a lot of security rules, basically. The only thing is that none of them apply to the administrator. So if I give you a quick example, you have two companies, one in Belgium, one in Italy. They are sister companies, and they do different kinds of operations. The administrator, when he logs into one company and looks at the sales order or the invoices, will see every sale order, every invoice from both company, independently in which company he is logged in. Why? Because none of the rules apply to him, because he needs to be able to configure everything. Right? If you want to test that out, do it with two users. Create one user for your administrator and the other user as a normal user, and you will immediately see that if you take the exact same page, you will have different data, because one user, the administrator, will see all the data and not the first user, not the normal user. So it makes it hard to manage the database correctly when you have that kind of views, because you don't know from which company certain sale order comes and from which company like certain invoices come. No, for sale order and stuff like that, it's not that that of a problem. Unfortunately, it is a way bigger problem for invoices. So for instance, and for accounting. So for instance, if you do an invoice, the administrator will have the right to generate an invoice for company 1, but for instance, to select accounts from the chart of account from company 2 into that invoice, basically. And so what you have then, you have one invoice for company 1 that implemented the accounting of company 2, and that in terms of accounting is a disaster. But only the administrator is able to do something like that. That is why we very strongly advise to use the administrator only to configure or to manage your database, but not to do day-to-day work with it, basically.
Easy. So he said, yeah, okay, thanks, same for user with settings, but that means customer needs an extra user?
So the same for user with settings? No. So for a normal user that is not the administrator, even if he has the settings, won't have that issue. So you can give every access right to a normal user. It's only valid for the it's only a problem for the user that has the ID, so the ID equal number 1. So basically it's only for the administrator 1, not for the one with the settings. So don't worry about that. And then right behind there, does it mean that the customer needs to pay an extra user? Yes, indeed. I know it's annoying, but trust me, it's an investment that is worth. It's 20 euros a month for a hell of problems that you won't have to handle, which you could focus then on handling your best interests, basically. Now, indeed, if the extra cost bothers you, well, negotiate. You never know. Our sales department is quite open, so of course I know it's bothering, but indeed, at this stage, you will need to pay for an extra user. All right, and then so the next question is.
Yeah, we had one question.
Yeah, one question more.
From
okay.
here.
All right, well, we can read it.
In sales pipeline, how to authorize only certain people to change the state of the opportunity in the Kanban view? Can you actually manage that with access rights? I think that even the lowest access right can still change.
Yeah. No functionality for that at the moment, I think. I'm just thinking about how we could. That's not even a model, so that's a record rule. So at the moment, that's not possible with the standard rules. If you need a functionality like that, you will need the help of a technical consultant.
Okay.
Indeed.
So, Bart again.
Bart, hey!
In Odoo, you can manufacture kits. Yes. So, yeah, as we explained earlier. In the picking list, you see the individual products. In the packing list as well. The customer, however, wants to have only the kit in the packing list.
Okay. So we had one example here of a delivery with a kit. I think I don't remember if it was in my computer. I forgot if it was in my database or in the Runbot one. With the no, it was in the demo one.
Yeah, because it was the table leg.
Exactly.
And the
Exactly. Oh. Okay. Okay, I have a small problem with my demo one apparently. Okay, we'll do it again. So we'll do it again then on the Runbot. So we'll make up our table. Are we still connected to the internet?
It seems to, but actually I have issues too, so...
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I created a database and it expired.
Okay, so we'll just go onto my database then. Orders. Oh. Okay, so products. We'll create a table, and in the table we want a bill of material. Create the bill of material, add a product, so we have the legs, quantity of 4 that we need, and we have the table plate. You know how you call that? Now we save. And I want to manufacture that as a kit. Here we go. So what you're telling me now is that I do my sale. Create for a LAN. I add my table. Here we go. I confirm my sale, and by confirming my sale I have one delivery with the 2. And so in the print action, so we have the picking operation and the delivery slip. And yeah, I guess that I know where you want to come to. In the delivery slip, you will see the 2 components and not the end one. And in the picking operation, the same thing, I guess. Oh yeah, of course. So I need to validate it. Apply. As well. I get your point, but indeed it depends It actually depends on the use case. So in some use cases, you will have to have the details of what you get delivered, you know, to see, well, if I ordered a table or I ordered something specific, I want to have the details of everything that is in my pack. I'm just thinking of when you guys order a post box, for instance, or a post pack. Well, in the pack, you want to see, okay, do I have everything that I need? So do I have my post box, my printer, my weight scale, etc. Now, we could, indeed, it might be a good feedback to provide us with both, because indeed the report here, we could have the delivery slip with the details and the ones without. But even though I'm taking a bit of a more technical standpoint, is that in the operation we only have those two products, so we don't have the main product, which is in the sale order. So one way that you could work with it is say, all right, if you don't want the details of your order, well, you look at your sale order that you can add into the package as well, because in the sale order you have what you ordered, and in the delivery slip you have every component of it. So I get where it comes from, but indeed, in the delivery slip, we have the details. If you want to have the general products, then you simply send out the sale order, basically. All right. I hope that answered your question, Bart. If you have any other, don't hesitate.
Yeah. That was still related to multi-company, so we answered that one.
Yeah, we answered that one.
Or do you should consider to include one admin user in the basic environment?
Yeah, that's something, however, that I cannot decide, but
we can make the feedback. But
we can make the feedback, but the thing is that if we include some people that don't use the multi-company, well, they just use their administrator as a normal user as well, so which is then more normal to have to pay for it. Indeed, if you use the multi-environment person, you need to pay for an extra user. Now remember that if you use a multi-company, it means that you can manage multiple companies with only one base. So basically only pay for one base even though that you have multiple companies. Whereas other companies, other ERP companies charge extra if you have different databases, which is not the case for us. So indeed you might have to pay the user more, but don't remember that actually the big promotion is that you have multiple databases into one, and those are actually for free. So I get your point, but it's 20 euros a month.
Yeah.
And yeah, 20 euro, what is 20 euros a month nowadays?
Right. So yeah, that was the last question.
All right, so we handled all of the people's questions.
Yeah.
You guys have no questions anymore. We are only at 2 complete
I answered
answered
4 questions.
You did?
Yes, I
In
did.
total,
Yeah.
which one were they?
Let me check. The one with the e-learning, you know?
Yeah. Ah,
Yeah.
true. Okay, I forgot that one. All right, okay.
Yeah, kind of the Kanban view. I knew the answer and you precised it, but
Okay. Well, guys, we are at 4 for at the moment. Don't forget that we had the 10 objective, right? So once again, for people just tuning in today, we had a challenge for Elaine today, who is our one of our support agents. Is that she had to be able to answer 10 of your questions. If she did, I had to pay her a drink tonight. If she can't, we'll just add it today. You have to pay me a drink, right? So the main thing is that if you want to help her, you have to ask
easy questions.
Easy questions, of course. If you want to help me, you can ask everything related to, I don't know, let's say something very hard.
Imports.
Imports, yeah, why not? But even though imports actually are not really the best example because it takes some time. Yeah. But if you want to help her, ask some easy questions maybe. Maybe Bart has an easy question right now who just arrived.
No, I just love us.
So, I love the format. You should have it alive 24/7. Well, Bart, loving that you love the format. It's perfect. The thing is, of course, that at some point we need to sleep. At some point we need to rest a little bit. But on the Friday, normally, if everything goes well, we're putting it in place more and more. Normally, we should have a 24-hour Friday support day because we do it in the... in the morning, so one team does it in the morning. Normally, a second team here in Belgium does it in the afternoon, and then we have an awesome team in San Francisco who takes over at 6 p.m. Belgium time. So basically, it means that if you're like super into it and you have like I don't know, 24 hours that you want to binge watch or do instead of binge watching Netflix, well, then you can simply follow normally every Friday for an around the clock support day. And of course, don't forget to make this alive. We need more and more people. So, Bart, if you love the subject and everyone else here looking into it, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. All right? All right, so we have a new question regarding MRP. All right, I showed that that's a question that you will be able to answer. I'm pretty sure you will. Come on, guys, we need the 10 answered question for Elena. We only have like 40 minutes left because at 12:30 we will give the antenna away. So come on, come on.
So here's the question. If you work in MRP with work orders, is there any way to set the emote to done automatically as soon as every work order is done? So I know that you can manually put the emo to done, but can you do it automatically?
Well, we'll do a small test, but so it's as soon as every work order is done. I did notice that at some point, but I think it does, doesn't it, in the V11? Wait, we'll have a quick look. Okay. If I can take back the presentation for a moment. But you get half a point for what you just answered right before. So we are at 4.5. Come on, guys, 5.5 to go. 5.5 to go. All right. So basically, work orders. So we go into the manufacturing app. Into the manufacturing app, we have the work order. So the first thing that I need to do is to configure my routings and my bill of material, because I have like only one bill of material for my table. I have no routing, so I'll create a routing to routing name. Well, we'll call it build table, of course. And in the build table, I have two operations. One will be assemble. That will be in the work center assembly line, assembly center. All right. Please don't judge my my English autograph. Sometimes it's a bit messy. I want to create my new work center indeed. So save and close. And the other one will be, I don't know, paint it. All right. And it will be done in the paint center. Save and close. And save. All right, save. So now, if I go back into my dashboard, I have my two centers, perfect. I go into my manufacturing order, I create one, and I will build my table. Oh.
You didn't create it at first?
Yeah, I created it first.
What's happening?
What is happening?
Maybe not manufactured, but? Let's
have a quick look. So we have table plate, we have my table here. I have my bill of material, it's consumable, which should be, of course. On my bill of material, remember, we wanted first to deliver it as a kit. So now at the moment we want to manufacture it. So of course, if it's delivered by kit, you won't be able to manufacture it, which is logical, of course. So in my dashboard now, I go into my operation, manufacturing order, I create it, and I will go have a look at my table. All right, I have the routing and everything. I save. I check the availability. I don't have any availability, but even though I can continue, right, because my stock is not always up to date. And I have two work centers. So you're telling me, if I go back into my dashboard, I have my work orders here to launch, I have one, right? This one I mark it as done. All right. And then after I have my work orders here, I have this one to paint, I mark it as done as well. Does it then mean that in my operation, I have my manufacturing orders, it's still in progress?
Yes,
indeed.
Have to do it manually.
And I have to mark it as done. Well, in standard, we won't be able to do it directly. But once again, that is an easy peasy customization, I think. I think it's an easy peasy customization, but once again, it's a bit more technical, so you will need the help of a consultant to help you with that. I don't think it's very hard. But indeed, you should. It's probably something that is quite easy to customize. But indeed, at the moment, you have to mark it as done. Especially, I think, because it has also a way of the inventory, right? So once it's produced, it's done, all right. But you have to also post the inventory. And sometimes people, if it's done, go go put the item that they just made into a certain location, and it then still need to be moved to the stock location, which is a reason why we don't mark the manufacturing order immediately as done before that the inventory stock move has been generated. So I hope it answered the question, but I'm sorry I don't have a perfect answer for you at the moment.
So next
all right.
question from Shafiq Shazal. Sorry if I'm misspelling your name. Hi, I am facing a problem with outgoing and incoming email servers configuration with Odoo. Raised an issue with ticket number, but no reply. So I just had a look, not supposed to do that here, but I just had a look at this ticket, and there has been some exchange by our support team. So please know that we are working on it, and you will get an answer soon.
All right, that is the words of the support agent that you have here, Sadiq. So that is very, very, very personalized answer here. Yeah, regarding our support departments, indeed. So sometimes in terms of support, you have to be a little bit patient. So why? Because we have tons of customer and a very dedicated team, but they are doing their best to handle your tickets as fast as possible. But we're also working with a kind of a priority system. So it means that if, for instance, a customer is already in production and that his database is blocked for some reason, we will handle that ticket first for a customer that is not yet in production. Why? Because in one case, the person is really stuck with his job, let's say, so not even with his job, so with his company, whereas the other, yeah, gets some delays in terms of implementation, but we think that it is a little bit less urgent then. So we're doing our entirely best, and just so you know, so how it happens is that when you create a ticket with us, it first gets into a new stage column. Then we have dedicated support teams that classify that ticket into the different stages depending on your question. So if you have an immediate bug, so for instance, if you send us a full description of a system bug with a screenshot of the error message, etc., it will go way faster into the technical team than for a functional bug. What we just saw, by the way, is that we had some analysis of our numbers, and we saw that more than 70%, if I remember correctly, was handled by the functional team. So which means that actually more than 70% of support tickets that are sent to our support are handled purely functionally. So meaning that it is questions about people that have a question about the working of the system, that maybe had a problem with the configuration, or did something wrong with their master data. I'm just saying something. So basically, if you send a ticket to our support, please know that we're doing everything to handle it as fast as possible. But of course, there are some delay times because we have a lot of claims to handle. It should also get better with the time because we're recruiting. And by the way, maybe something that is cool to say as well. We want new colleagues. So if at some point you are looking for a cool job and cool colleagues like us, you can always go as well to the website odoo.com/jobs. And basically here we have all of the different opportunities that we have for you. And in different countries as well. So if you're listening from the US, it's the same thing. If you're listening from Luxembourg, maybe we have also offices there, New York, India. So don't hesitate to go have a look at what we are offering. And who knows, maybe that's soon you will be at our seat. You never know. All right, so do you have any other questions?
Dear, can you elaborate a bit on the push rule? For example, if I want to store a product in a certain location.
Okay, a push rule is simply a rule that says if my product arrives in a certain location, I want it to be automatically pushed to a next one. So basically, if I have the inventory app here, right, I can work with push rules. So I can go to my configuration and say that I want to use advanced routing. So routes, multi-step routes. Here we go. And so basically the main thing is that with push rules you have two ways of working. Either you have a put-away strategy, either you have push rules. A put-away strategy is on the warehouse, is on the location itself. And you say on the location, look, if something enters into my location, I want to automatically put it away into that or that location. All right. So we'll see that first. If I take my inventory module here and I go into my configuration and my locations, I will simply I have actually two stock locations, which is good. If I enter my my reserve move, I will see my reserve location. I will see that I have put away strategy. So I can say, okay, I want to put my my product away, and I want to say, okay, this is, for instance, for WH stock. And in the WH stock, I want the product category expenses to be put immediately in location WH stock. That way, actually, it means that you can subdivide for every location. Okay, if it's an incoming in that location, for that product category, I want to put it there, there, and there. Right. Then we can go a little bit more into details, meaning that we can go into the warehouses itself. And we can activate new functions, meaning that in a warehouse you already have predefined push rules. So if you go here and that you say in the incoming shipments, I want to unload in an input location, go through a quality control, and then being sent into the admitted in stock. So I have 3 steps. We can select that option and save it for your warehouse. Then you will notice that automatically some rules have been created. So we have the 3-step rules, which are actually push rules, right? So that is already a way of working with the push rules. Now, how does the push rule actually work? Is that we enter the quality control here, right? And basically, you can say, okay, in my push rule, I have a source location, WH quality control, right? And I want to push it to WH stock with a manual move. So in another way, it means that when I receive something in my inventory, so I go into my purchase, I create a request for quotation for a do, and I add a product, let's say a table. Right, so I want to purchase that table. I save. I confirm my order. We will have one shipment, right? And so that one shipment will have to go from the partner location into my incoming shipment. So if I go back into my inventory here, I will notice that in my received, I have one operation to receive, right? If I validate it and I apply, I notice that it's done basically. So it went into my input location. But in my inventory now, I have one internal transfer that is created automatically. Why? Because I have the WH stock to quality control. So it comes from the input, which was the first one I did, to quality stock. And once again, if I validate that one and I apply, I will have one more internal transfer to do, which is this one, that I have to do from quality stock to WH stock. So basically, what does the push rules do? They simply create the next transfer order automatically when it goes to one location to the other. And you can create your own rules by going into the configuration routes and create any routes, like for the 3 steps only here, and say, okay, I want to push that when it comes to my W input, it goes immediately to my quality control. Once I'm done with the quality control, it goes immediately to WH stock. So what I would advise in terms of the rules here is that you go check the existing rules at this stage, and that you check whether you understand the basic routes, and then you can modify those routes or create your own. So that's basically it.
Yeah.
I hope that it answered your question. We have still half an hour left.
Yeah, and no more questions.
No more questions at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. It's coming from your server.
Yeah.
Okay, so Shafiq, apparently, indeed, it is urgent. What we will do is go have a look at your ticket and ping someone on it to have a further look. Unfortunately, we cannot do much from here as we are in the live support. So what you should do then is don't hesitate to send a mail back to the ticket to increase its urgency by telling us, all right, I've been now blocked for more than 2 weeks. Could you please do something?
Yeah, you can also
about it?
give us a small call. So I don't know if you can go on the odus.com/help. There you can see our phone numbers for support. You can always give us a small call, and we will handle your ticket. We might be able to handle your ticket faster that way. So don't hesitate. We're always there to answer.
All right.
So yeah, I have a question.
Okay. Once again, try, Mohammed, because I'm seeing it already coming in. Try to put the entire question into one chat messages. Otherwise, we will have trouble to answer it. As we can't scale the people that have, I mean, we can't like order per user. Right. So just waiting then for the question of Mohammed. Okay.
You're
welcome for the kind advice. All right. In the meantime, what we should show you is that sometimes, actually, some things that I wanted to show you very fast. In the meantime, is that you don't have to forget that if at the moment you're still in a lower version that are V10, right, and that you're in our enterprise, we have a lot of people that ask to migrate to our newest version, which is normal. We are close to finishing the V11 migration script. We are not there yet, but we are working really hard on it. If you have an online version that is, let's say, in V9 or that you want to migrate into V10, don't forget that we have into our so don't forget that we have in the manage your database module, so right here, right, my odoo.com account, and if you go have a look at your databases, right, and that you click on manage your database, you have normally here an option to upgrade if you have a database that is not in the latest version. I don't, because I'm in the latest version at the moment. But if you have a standard database and that you want to migrate to the latest version, don't hesitate to click the button here to have a new migrated database. All right. Actually, it will be kind of fun to like watch ourselves, no?
Okay, next question. So Bart has another question. Our company, his company is buying serialized products, so he would like to.
Yeah, it's okay. Look at that. We are creating a vortex here, no?
Yeah, kind of.
All right.
So, yeah, his company is buying serialized products, so he wants to have them in a stock location, and then customer or the company like to buy a specific serialized product.
All right.
So customer of company says, I like to buy serial number blah blah blah. I don't get the question.
Well, so basically, if I understand correctly, so you have your stock locations and you have serial numbers per item, which is possible. So if you go into your database here and that you manage it with serial numbers, you simply go into the inventory, right? And the inventory, you go into the settings. And from those settings, you simply search for serial numbers. Lots of serial numbers, you go. Then you can save those one and handle your products with serial numbers. And basically, we will be able in the picking type to say which serial number we want to deliver. So that's not really a problem. By default, Odoo will offer you the FIFO one. So it means that it will offer you to deliver the serial number that entered your stock at first, which is logical, but we can change that if necessary. So in other words, we are now working with serial numbers. So I will create a product. And so usually the kind of products that like to work with serial numbers are, let's say, expensive watches, right? So I would just create a watch, right? And in the inventory, I want to remember that they are tracked by unique serial numbers. So that is very important here. Okay. Then I will first order my watch. So I will purchase it and say, okay, I want to purchase let's say 4 watches. I will even say 2 because that way I have less work to do. So I will purchase my watch and say I purchase 2 units of that watch. Right, I save, I confirm my order, and on my shipments here, I have an incoming shipment for the 2 watches, but I have to answer to handle a serial number. So I click on here, and here I have to add the serial number for my first watch, right, which is, let's say, 123, right, so that is one that is done, and I need to to handle the second one, 456, right, and I confirm. I validate. So now I have in my inventory, I have 2 watches with 2 different serial numbers. I can show that very easily by going into the inventory, and in the inventory go into the products, and I can see the different watches that I have. Maybe it would be easier if I go to the master data, lots and serial numbers here. I have 2 watches, one with serial number 123, one with serial number 456, right? And I have a creation date as well. Okay. Now, after that, the question is, okay, somebody wants to purchase my watch, but he only wants to purchase a watch 456. Well, no problem. Then I create a sale order. I say I will sell to you the watch with serial number 456. So I select my product watch. The thing is, of course, is that at this stage we don't have a way to tell that the serial number that he wants is the 456. So one thing that you could do is say, okay, I want to add to my description that it is actually serial number 456, right? So it's serial 456. It's a bit of manual work, but depending on your case, it might do the trick, right? And I have only one that I want to sell. So I save, I confirm my sale, and I have 1 delivery. When delivering it, I want to validate it immediately, but you will tell me, no, I need to have a serial number for the watch. Of course, I want to deliver my 456. So then I go once again into my registered packs and lots, and per default, he is supposed to give me first the lots 1, 2, 3, because he's the first one who entered, basically. I don't want the 1, 2, 3, I want the 4, 5, 6. I have 1, I confirm, I validate, and it is delivered to my clients. Even more, since the V11, you have a very, very neat up-down traceability feature. So you click on the up-down traceability feature, and you will be able to see, okay, what happens with my watch, right? Oh, I saw that it was in warehouse out, and it went down. Now I can also go up, and I can also go into my catalog and into my serial number inventory here. So I go into the master data serial number. I take the 456 watch, right? And I have the up-down traceability here, so I can really see, okay, on my watch, what happens with it. Okay, I have the 45 in, and I have the 45 out, basically. All right? So I hope that answered the question. I hope it did. So if it doesn't, please don't hesitate to tell us. And
I think it did, yeah.
Oh, it did.
Yeah. Your wording is okay. If you sell a few products, customer is not selling 2 watches, but 250 per deal.
Mm-hmm. All right, but even though, I mean, he needs to know which serial number he has to choose, because he needs to take the watch. We can also do it with a barcode scanner, by the way.
Yeah.
So if he has the serial numbers on the product, he can scan basically the serial number in his outgoing shipment. So that's maybe a way of doing it, is to scan but even though he needs to know which one is leaving, so even if he sells 250 watches, he needs to know which lot number he will be selling.
Anyway, yeah.
So anyway.
Okay, great.
All right, so do we have any other questions? So
yeah.
guys, we have only 15 minutes left to make Hélène a bit drunk tonight, right? So we have four and a half questions. Don't forget that she needs to answer 10 if she wants her drink. So come on, ask us some easy questions so that Hélène can answer as well. All right?
Okay. I'm gonna try to answer that one.
Okay.
Okay, so Mohammed is asking, can I manage the price of the product and make it editable by chosen users? So you can manage the price of the product. We Odoo works with price lists, and you can actually link those price lists to the user, which will determine the price of your product directly when you select the user, the customer on the sale order.
Can you maybe give a small demo?
Yeah. So here we are. For example, if I will create a contact, I will name it Cedric. And here, in my Sales and Purchase tab, I can select the price list. So I have several price lists here, sorry. So I can create any, I'm going to create a test price list so you can see it. You can configure it as you want. And if you need it to be more specific, you can actually go into your settings and choose the type of price list that you want. So here, there is only possibility to put multiple prices per product, but if we choose the second option and save, Wi-Fi is a bit slow. I'm sorry. Hopefully, it will work.
I also saw a question in the next ones that you will be able to answer quite fast.
Okay. So here we go. So if I go back to my list of prices, here is my test one. I can edit it, and I can decide how it will work for my products. So I can decide that it's going to work for globally all my products or a certain category, etc. And here, let's say that I would like the customer to be on that prices, that they have 10% discount on the initial price. So here it is. I save. And I'm going to check if that was right on Cedric. Contact form. So yep, here it is. So if I go back to my sales and create a sale order for Cedric, you will see that it will automatically have a 10% discount. Here it is. So you can see the test price is right here, and I'm going to choose a product. So let's say this one, for example. I will save and confirm. Is it gonna work? No.
Oh, I'm sure it does. But did you apply? Wait. So basically, did you apply on your? If you open the price list?
Yep.
Yeah. So basically, so the you see the discounts are included in the price. So basically, we have to check whether what was the initial cost of the server, right? So if you open the server, so now it's 54,000.
Yep.
And the initial price is 60,000. So it did work.
Okay, it did work.
So,
great.
And so basically, on the prices, if you want to show the discounts to your customer, you simply you simply enter the test here, and you simply change that parameter here to be able to say, okay, I want the public to show the discount that I have here. And that way you will be able to show the 10% to your customers, of course. It all depends on what you want to do, actually.
Okay, nice.
Well, that's a very good answer. So you're already at, come on, I'll give you one extra. 7.
Okay,
so
great.
in the next more. 13 minutes.
13, yeah. 13.
Yeah. In the next 30 minutes, we need 3 easy questions to help Hélène out to be able to have a drink tonight. So,
is it possible to use Odoo online, and after a year, for example, can I make it on our company server? Sure, it is. It will require some test migration, etc., but it is always possible. When you will be ready to do that, please contact us, and we will give you the right step to follow to do it, in order to not have any error messages or complication during that migration, but it is doable. So,
Okay, then we have a small question from Sharik. Could you please show a demo on how to fix up outgoing email server? I can show you where you can configure that. That's not that complicated. Only thing is, of course, it all depends on the configuration of your own email server, right? So basically, if we go into the database here, we have the settings and you have to go into the debug mode. So you have to click on the settings here and activate the developer mode here, right? By activating the developer mode here, if you go back to the settings, you have the technical and you have one outgoing mail server here. And you can create an outgoing mail server with a description, the SMTP server here, SMTP ports, priority, identification, etc. And you even have a function to test if the connection was successfully. Just be careful. I know it's not the case for outgoing, but for incoming mail server, we are having a lot of trouble with Office 365. I know it's unusual, but the problem is that they are very severe. How do you say that in English?
Yeah, strict.
Strict, yeah, they're very, very strict with their policies, and basically they don't allow a lot of external servers to send out using their SMTP. So just be careful if you have that that particular one, and ask for support. But that is the way how you can configure an outgoing mail server. It shouldn't be that hard normally. Okay.
Okay. So, Mark asks, is it possible to import bank statement as XML?
That you should know.
I should know.
You should know. Is it or yes? Is it or is it not?
I would say yes.
It is yes.
Yay!
Woo-hoo! Congratulations! All right, one point more. But how do we do it? So basically, first of all, if you have any issue regarding something like that and that you want to have more information, we have a documentation about that. So you simply go into our documentation website, all right? So the .com/documentation, and in the accounting we have a documentation that inquires. Oh, actually, I was mistaken. Sorry, it can't apparently. So we can synchronize with your bank. We can use OFX and QFIF or Coda. XML, I'm not 100% sure that we can. I'll have a quick look, just to be sure. Yeah, I'm always confusing with the different like acronyms like Coda, XML, QFX, etc. In the accounting, if I go into my bank statements. No, if I go into the settings of my bank statements, so settings, payments methods, where did we say that we could, here we go, so manual, no, journal entries, we had a function somewhere of file imports, alright. We have the save here, and so now we should have import statements. And indeed, actually, you can only do it with CSV, OFX, or Coda for Belgium. So I don't think that we can yet import bank statements in XML. I'll just have a quick look as well in the app, so you never know. So apparently not. I'm thinking I was confused because actually we can export it in XML. So basically we export XML SEPA files, but we don't import them. So exports are possible to be able to re-import into your bank, but usually a lot of Belgian banks also have the Coda statements or the QFX statements. So maybe you can find a replacement for the XML, Mark, hopefully.
Okay, so I guess that is a full question. So Bart is asking for the serial numbers. That is a good tip, so great job. So you can select the watches by scanning the serial number one by one. Are you 100% sure about this?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. 100% is high, 90%. To be exactly sure, try it out. I don't have a barcode scanner here. It's a big program, but I know that if I have my serial numbers here, so if I have my, let's say, so if I go into my inventory, I go into my lot and serial number. If I select my lot and serial number here, I can print out the lot barcode. So if I can print out the lot barcode, I'm guessing that I can as
Yeah.
well scan them into my inventory operation. Once again, use the barcode app. That's the simplest one to use. And before running to your clients telling you that you found the perfect solution, test it out always. Right? We have a saying that says, "I only test my code once in production, but please don't apply that." All right?
Okay, so the next question is from Ivo Vorlak. Is there a way to use a template for the creation of products so it will guide me through the few fields I need to fill in with different values?
So what you mean with template? I mean that you mean like that the system shows you, okay, first
How to
fill
do
this in, that in, that in. That's something that we have actually when you start working with Odoo.
Yeah.
So when you start working with Odoo, you have like those little kinds of, bubbles, like you can see here, that actually show you what you can do next. Now, those bubbles get deactivated the first time that you use, after the first time that you use it, because, after a while it gets a bit annoying. You have into the progression files here, you can as well find a way of how that you can create your product. So by product type, supply chain, etc. So you can use this one, but indeed something that really guides you through the stem by fill this in is not in standard. Why? Because it's different for every people.
Yeah, right.
So we don't have that really in standard, but really our documentation is quite complete. You have the implementation guides that is really written by our CEO that can help you with your first product. And by experience, I can also tell you that Odoo is very simple to use. We do a lot of research and development to make it as user-friendly as possible. And usually people find their way quite fast into it.
And if you have any questions, don't forget that we have a documentation on our website too that can always help you to find how to configure products or any kind of form in Odoo.
Exactly. And we also have our sales department that can answer your question or even provide you with a consultant must you have a need for that.
Okay, great.
Alright.
So 5 minutes left. Yeah, already in contact and soon we'll start using Odoo. Thank you guys.
Woo!
Thank you to you. That's
Thank you
great
too.
news.
That's the best choice that you ever made, I think.
Traffic says thanks
Thanks,
to
no
you.
problem, guys.
Hamed Elatawi, sorry for your name, I'm very sorry. I had the chart of account in English. I need to have translation of chart of account in Arabic to system.
Okay.
So, yeah, actually I just had a look at our localization. We are working on a lot of localization at the moment for Odoo. I see that for Arabic we are at almost 60% done for that, so you will be able to do it, but there might be some missing translations, but it is doable currently. But you can, yeah, go ahead.
Well, basically, in terms of translations, what you can do is you can translate them into any account. So basically, if you have, I guess that for the Arabic countries, you have the custom chart of accounts. So what you can do then is simply go into the accounting, and into the accounting, you have the advisors and the no. So it's maybe in the configuration here of the chart of accounts, and in the chart of accounts, you have, or you should have a way of translating your name. Maybe that you have to go then into the applications, you delete the apps here and you click on translate. Or even though I think I know what I did wrong, I'm sorry, I have to have a second language in place. So if I go into the settings here, I can upload a translation. I will load my Arabic translation, for instance, right? So it's right here. I have my Arabic translation, and I load the Arabic translation into my database first of all. All right, so we just wait until it loads. Arabic is a very beautiful and quite complex language, so that's why it needs to load. All right. So in the meantime, I just have to say we have maybe 2 minutes left, so we'll try to select the more and the more.
So Mark is asking, will the recording of that broadcast available after it ends?
Well, Mark, yes. So basically, what I would do in your case, copy paste the link that you have into your YouTube windows right now. If you reuse that link, you will be able to re-see the entire broadcast. But we don't host, I think, everything on our YouTube channel, as we would have too many videos. You also have to subscribe to our channel, of course, to be able to see the link. So don't hesitate to do that, so that you can rewatch the entire broadcast at will. You can even play it at night, if you want to hear our voices. You never know. You never know what you want to do. So basically, for the questions about the Arabic translation, in the accounting now I've installed a new language, which means that if I go into the configuration and into the chart of accounts, and I go into my capital accounts here, I edit it. Now I have a little globe here that allows me to enter the translation value of that capital in Arabic. And that means, now I don't have Arabic characters on my laptop, so I cannot do it. But if you enter the translation value here and that you switch your database to Arabic, you will see the translation value of the Arabic account.
That is right.
All right.
So, yeah.
Do we have time for one more, for one last one?
Okay, so...
And we saw that Mark says, thanks, you guys are awesome. You guys are awesome as well.
Thank you a lot.
Do I have place for one more? So Mark, is XML a case for customizations? It never costs anything to ask. So ask our support, contact us immediately and see if there is something that we can do for you in terms of customization. It's not my everyday job, neither is it the one of Elaine, so I won't, I don't know if it's a case or not, but it doesn't cost anything to ask, right?
Okay.
Okay, so I think that unfortunately that's the time that we have for today. So it's 12:30, so we have to give the stem back. I don't know if this afternoon somebody takes over or not. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think so. So unfortunately, that will be it for today. We saw.
I just wanted to mention, please, guys, don't forget to like this video, to share, and to comment, and also, most important, to subscribe to our channel. Thanks you a lot for your attention today.
It helps a lot. Thank you for all. Subscribe and keep up the good work. And please make Odoo awesome, so please make Odoo awesome like you do with the entire community. Thank you all, and we see each other next time.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yeah, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you all. Bye bye.
Bye bye.